T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world, Trap Talk Reptile Podcast, episode 404. What is good, everybody? I'm your boy, MJ. This is your first time tapping in with us. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, select all. You'll be on top of every single podcast I drop here on this channel. Thank you for all the likes, all the subscribes. Really, all the views, man. Thank you so much. Everyone who gives me the time of day and really the guests the time of day really means a lot. Thank you. So if you listen to Trap Talk Reptile Podcast on all the major audio platforms such as Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. If you're looking for exclusive content, if you like to get more out of what you see here on each episode, if you want to tap in with the community of trappers, aka longevity keepers, go down to the very first link in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you get a link to the Discord that will tap you in with over 175 dedicated keepers, aka the trappers. All right. There's also an Instagram group chat on a certain tier where you get to meet some real deal people making some real deal moves. Basically, people having fun in the reptile industry. All right. So come join us. Come have fun with us. Come grow with us. Every Sunday, we get together with the V Unit family, face-to-face hangouts on Zoom. All right. It's a lot more than just texting and having these social media group chat relationships. No, man, we want to get face to face. We want to talk to you guys. We want to see how things are going. All right. So hang out with me and the V Unit family, the trappers, every Sunday on Zoom when you join the Patreon family. Thank you to all my Patreon members. You guys are my heart. Love you guys. Shout out to the early birds in the chats. I'll get to you guys in a second. I do want to say that tonight's episode is brought to you by MERSHON's MORPHS. All right. Shout out to my man, Shelby, over at MERSHON's MORPHS. Head over to MERSHON'sMORPHS.net. Head over to MERSHON MORPHS Instagram. Shelby's projects are not to be slept on. A lot of you guys who've been in the game know that his projects are up there, man. And Shelby, keep doing your thing, buddy. Proud of you. Love your new room. Love everything this guy's doing, man. You just got to go follow Shelby. If you need that bit of inspiration, if you want to see someone who's doing it right in the game, Shelby from MERSHON MORPHS. Thank you, Shelby. Fuck it. I'm going to shout out all my ball python sponsors tonight. Why not? Shout out to Miguel Garcia. Always evolving pythons. Always inspiring. It's my dog right here. And if you want to talk about inspiration, simply go follow him on Instagram and go see his travels. The guy's always moving, always making moves, and really one of the biggest inspirations, I feel like, in the ball python industry ever since he came into the game. So shout out to Miguel. Always evolving pythons. Make sure you go follow him on YouTube. And just be ready, man. Morph market as well. A lot of his stuff is now hatching out. So just be ready. Big things coming from my dog, always evolving pythons. And the Mandarin King himself, TOFAUTI of Royals of Africa. All right. If you really want in on the real Mandarin game, if you do not want to be bamboozled when it comes to Mandarin, you need to tap in with TOFAUTI Royals of Africa. Shout out to my man TJ doing it right. Shout out to Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. This is my dog right here. All right. Sorry, but this is my dog. Thank you so much, Mark Bailey. You are more than an inspiration. You're definitely a mentor. You're my big bro. You've helped me out so much, and I'm not the only one that this guy's helped out. If you want to really talk about what makes you a pillar in this industry is when you help people out, and I don't think anyone from who I know has helped out other people like this guy has. So thank you, Mark Bailey. You're like family to me. Shout out to you all the time. Go to Morph Market. Please follow Mark Bailey Reptiles on Morph Market. This guy right here, OG in the game. That's a fact. Thank you so much. Do me a favor. Next time you ship your reptiles with Ship Your Reptiles, take 15 bucks off. Use promo code TRAPTALK. All right? And let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Emilio Villarino in the building tonight. How you doing, sir?
What's up, man? Very good.
How was your week? Grinding, I know that. But how how was it? You're here on a Thursday night, but how has your week been?
It's good.
Yeah.
We ended this weekend. Brand new show, did pretty well. Grinded it hard, like you always say.
The show was Scale X. Excuse me, just remind me the show that you just went, because I know
Scales,
it's a
Reptiles, Scales, Reptile, and Fish Expo, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Cool.
It was pretty good, man.
Cool. All right. Well, really excited for tonight's guest. JP is somebody who's kind of been a part of like my whole era of podcasting since like the first season, since like the very first few episodes. And I've seen him grow within the hobby. Obviously, there's like a lot of, you got people have different mixed feelings about the ball python market, right? I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, like depending who you're talking to, either some are killing it, some are whatever, or some are just not having as much fun. When did you say it's kind of all over the place right now?
Yeah. I think we're adjusting a little bit to the economic cycle we're going through.
Right.
To the influx of breeders that came in during COVID. And we're also adjusting now to the people that are getting out, right?
Yeah, the ones that can't hang.
Yeah, the extra RHACS, the extra animals, the price cutting that we're seeing here and there. So,
yeah.
It's temporary.
It's all phases.
It's temporary.
It's all phases, right? And if you've been in this game long enough, not that I have, but I know a lot of people that have, but if you've been in this game long enough, they all know that this is no ordinary thing. This is just another ordinary wave of ups and downs that just come in almost anything you do, no matter what hobby or industry it is. So we'll talk all about it tonight, because I do know one thing. You follow JP, right? Are you familiar with his work?
Yeah.
Stellar projects. All his shit, from what I've seen, I'm always just like, fuck, you know what I mean? So there's nothing irrelevant about what JP's doing at all. So it's going to be a good episode. Lots to talk about. I want to say what up to people in the early birds, because the live chats are jumping. Are you cool with that? Can we get to the early birds? You got to say yes, Emilio. When I ask you a question, you got to say, let's do it. Because when I don't hear anything, I feel like if there's a connection issue.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. Jesse Wisdom in the building. What is good? Thanks for tapping in. Big Mike, 1776 Exotics, Trap Talk Patreon member, just made some heavy moves. I'm not going to say with who, but go give him a follow. You might find out sooner or later. Trap Talk Patreon member. Miller's Menagerie in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Big sis Lily in the building. She was just on Snakes on the Fat Man. Proud of this girl for putting yourself out there. Go catch that episode. My big sis Lily. That's what I'm talking about, making big moves. Proud of you. Trap Talk Patreon member also. Justin Campbell in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Our guy, Brian Heathen Hatchery. Trap Talk Patreon member. V Unit family all day, every day. City Limit Exotics in the building. What is good? Serpent Smiths, my coach, the shooter. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The man named Freddie. Freddie. Morph Valley Reptiles. Trap Talk Patreon member. V Unit family all day, every day. Big Mike North Star Exotics. V Unit family all day, every day. One of my favorite logos to be hitting the scene lately. Bay Area Ballers in the building. What's up, player? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. All City Reps. Oh, sorry, I was going to say Reptiles. Got ahead of myself. All City Serpents. We met this guy just on the most recent Zoom meeting. Just tapped in recently into the game. Super excited for this guy. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Giovanni Alvarado. Hola. Right? Dude, ever since it's ever since. Chopping it up now. Here we go. I'm going to keep it moving. Eric's More Factory. I need a shirt. I'm not going to lie, dog. I saw the homie Emilio rocking one of your shirts. I like that pocket right there. I like that little pocket logo. So maybe shoot me one. Emilio, can you tell him to shoot me one? That'd be cool, dog. Yeah. Am I valid for a shirt?
Hell yeah.
All right. Thank you. XL. I'm just kidding. Hey, appreciate you, Eric. Thanks for being here. V Unit family member all day, every day. Deviant Glass in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Mickey Morphs in the building. June, damn, we got one of Canada's finest right here. This guy right here. You want to talk about projects that are relevant? Do not sleep on this guy, man, please. And he's also into other species of reptiles, which I admire. I encourage. Shout out to the homie June, ballistic pythons. The homie Nick in the building. What's up, homie? Thanks for tapping in. And we're going to end this in style because it's a super chat. And guys, do not be, please, I don't need anyone to be shy tonight with super chats. If you first and foremost think that tonight's episode is worth of any super chat, drop a super chat like my man Shane just did from Above All Scales. But more importantly, if you have a topic, you have a question, if JP, Emilio, or myself said something, you're like, whoa, dude, send a super chat no matter what it is. I'll put it on the big screen. We'll get to it. And that's a fact. Emilio, what do you know? I know I kind of asked you a little bit, but what do you know about JP Reptiles? What is it that you know of the guy?
He's got some bangers, bro. You know?
Yeah.
He's got some amazing Canadian heat. I got a snake from him last year. Amazing animal, eats great. It's something I needed and I got it. So
all right.
Yeah, man. Love that stranger chocolate clowny hit this week. You know, dope, the one he posted. Yeah, man, the guy's got some heat. It's looking good.
And I'll tell you one thing, I always say this, you know, it all depends on who you first buy from. JP made a lot of, you know, I don't want to say the initial first purchase were great, but holy shit, the way he delegated on who we bought projects from what I can see, really benefited from what he did because what he's producing. But let's get down to it, man. Let's get my man in here right now. It's about that time, guys. And I do want to shout out to the big homie JQ Ball Pythons. But guys, do me a favor. Do what you got to do to get your mind right. All right. Do what you got to do to stay hydrated. But it is episode 404. Well, my man Emilio co-hosting on a Thursday night. Poof. Let's go. We got my man JP coming at you right now. Ball Python market crashing? ? That's a question mark. Relax. Let's go. Cheers. You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes,
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it.
Back, JP from JP Reptiles into the aquatics now. No more snakes. I'll just kidding. Why are you muted, buddy? Look, picture.
There we go.
There we
We're
go.
back.
What a start. What's up, JP?
Well, you only have me on once a year, so I get rusty.
Oh, what? Has it been once a year? I don't know. This is your fourth or third time on here? I think the fourth.
No. Yeah, actually, maybe. And
I got-
Villarino, how you doing? Thank you
Yep.
for the kind words.
JP, Emilio, JP, you guys never have officially met, so this is cool that you guys get to meet finally. And you heard that Emilio just bought a snake from you last year, which is, I think, is cool. I mean, I gotta tell you, if I ever get to sell a snake to someone like Emilio, I know I'm doing it right because he doesn't just buy snakes. The guy's fucking very strategic in what he does. So just to hear, I just found out that just to hear that he bought a snake from you, I'm already giving you props on that, JP. That's pretty cool, man.
Well, I appreciate all the business and the kind words, and yeah, glad to hear he or she. So my wheelhouse of customers is still small enough where I remember the individual customers, but I don't always necessarily remember the snakes they bought. So I'm getting in that sweet spot now where it's grown to the point where I'm going to not remember not only the snakes, but also the customers. But we're still in that category. So you'll have to remind me which snake it was.
Yeah, I got an NCOD head dreamsicle female that I really needed for my dreamsicle stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Dang. So
Yeah.
2023, we're at almost the end of the year, man. Where are we at, JP? I know every time
End of the year. I'm just starting.
I mean, on the calendar. We're in fourth quarter here, okay? So that's why I'm just saying, like, here we are. We're at the end. And, like many other people, a lot of people go late at the end of the year. I was talking about Miguel's clutches are just all dropping at once. Southern Cal people, same thing. So I always like to catch up with you and what's going on. I follow your stuff pretty closely on Facebook and Instagram, but for whatever reason, whatever you post first, I see on Facebook. And I'm just blown away, man. Like, I'm really proud where you've taken things, because a lot of people have invested this kind of stuff that you've invested and then haven't fulfilled the projects. It looks like you're fulfilling the projects, but I want to hear it from you. How are things?
It's slow, man. I was very naive in the beginning and thinking that, like, I was going to buy a bunch of snakes. I was going to reach my dreams and my goals within a couple of years. And man, it takes a long time of, like, the production, the slow growth, the development of the project. This is not an overnight thing. And this year is for giving an example, this is the first year finally that I'm actually got really, really good odds at DG Hypo Clowns with Super Chocolate in the mix too. But it's taken me 4 years of breeding my original girls, holding back, like, growing them up, holding back the production, and finally getting there. And still, I may just get unlucky and not do it. So it's even if you spend big money and you buy, like, double visuals and you get some of the best, you put yourself in a position where you have the best odds you can have. It's still a long process. It's just not something that's going to come overnight, and it's a long time coming. So this year it's not exactly where I wanted it to be, because I still have the same problem I do every year, which I'm just really short on males all the time. So I'm going to break 38 clutches this year, but realistically I probably could have done 60 or 70 if I had the male power. But I feel like the decisions that I made with my males and the females that I picked to breed, I feel like this is the first year where I'm starting to put some meaningful holdbacks in the rack. Because I'm always thinking about the future, right? I'm always thinking about, how do I keep replacing the stuff that I buy with some new stuff that I produce that's taking it to the next level. And so it's a very slow game, but it's so rewarding in the same aspect. You just got to have the patience. It's a lot of patience.
But I don't know. I mean, every time we're talking about ball pythons, we always talk about how slow things are. So it's kind of like are you talking slow in a sense where you thought at least by now you'd be selling the shit you thought you'd be selling? Like, and that's talking like clown hypo stuff. Like, what's the biggest thing slowing you down right now?
I think it just comes down to the numbers. I mean, I'm kind of in this, like, hard place right now where I don't really know what the right answer is, because mathematically, for you to hit what you want to hit, you need numbers, right? Yep. When you're dealing with double and triple recessives, if you've got one female and one male and you're breeding triple het, you're going to take 20 years to get multi-codons into the project before you even hit. It's going to be a long process. So you need the volume to improve your odds, but at the same time, how much volume do you want? And it's kind of like my Achilles heel, where because I didn't make smart decisions with purchasing more males in the beginning, I've been stuck for the last except for this year, but the last 2 or 3 years, I've been stuck in that 20 to 25 clutch range. And it's just not enough production to hit all the different goals that I want to hit. So it's a slower approach. Whereas if I was doing 100 clutches a year, I would have probably not only been able to sell a lot more higher end quality animals in this time frame, but my racks would have been a lot more full with even more stuff and setting me up. So it's kind of like, and then you're in a down market right now. So it's like, do you really want those numbers? Is it the right time to do the numbers? So you kind of caught in a hard place, because I have a lot of goals. I have visions on what I want to do, but I'm not hitting enough odds to get to those goals quickly. Like, it's taken me almost the better part of 4 years just to get a shot at hitting that triple that I envisioned in 2019. I wanted to make a DG Hypo Clown in 2019, but it's been 4 years in the making, right? Maybe could I have gotten there a little bit faster if I had a little bit more females, if I had a little bit more in the project. So it's a delicate balancing game. When you're starting out, you're buying snakes, you're trying to establish a collection, you're planning your pairings. It's it's like a balancing act. You know, you got to have your goals, but then like, how do I get there? You know, how much production do I need to get there? Is it going to be enough? Am I going to be able to move fast enough? Am I going to be able to keep up with the speed at which some of the projects are moving for? So it's like all these things you got to consider when you're breeding, and I'm learning all of this as I go. And you know, this year is the first year of validation to me that I'm looking at some of them hatching, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, I saw this, you know, 2 or 3 years ago, and it's finally coming to me. It's there, and it's a really great feeling.
What do you have to say to that, Emilio?
Well, I mean, don't beat yourself up on the males. Everyone, I think most have that male problem. I think we were kind of taught to have less males. That isn't the safest approach. Now, when you talk about collection size, slowly you build that. Are you comfortable with getting your collection so big, and the overhead and the extra rodents? Right. And the extra work that comes with that? I mean, that's what I would ask you.
That's the problem. So this year is like, I am just, especially with my daughter now, I am really getting to that boiling point of how much can one person do. And I don't think I can grow that much larger than where I am today off just being a solo act. I mean, I'm already slacking on I would love to go back to doing weekly videos on YouTube. I would love to go back to posting on Instagram daily, you know, and just trying to keep up with the social media. But it's like the care of the animals always comes first. So I invest more time into that now. So we're getting to that stage. And this is actually a very interesting conversation I had with another breeder this week, where we were talking about how you need numbers to move your projects at a speed that keeps up with the market. But at the same time, you cannot do those numbers if you don't have the infrastructure in place. Like you said, rodents, help, cleaning, like you need that infrastructure. You know, it's, and you can try to be a one-man show. Like I'm sure there are some crazy cats out there that can work 16 hours a day and maybe do all of Justin's collection or Garrett Demeyer's collection, you know, as a solo act. I'm sure, but you're going to be miserable. I mean, that's like 16 hours of 7 days a week, same thing. So you need a personal life, you need a balance. So it's tough. I'm in that sweet spot now where I can't get too much bigger. Do I bring on some help? Well, the market is down right now. Sales are down, revenue is down. So can I afford to bring on help at this point? Do I keep growing? Like it's one thing affects everything. It's like a domino effect across the board.
Yeah, and what I would say to that is you've been in the game since what, 2018?
Yeah.
You still there. I mean, with no offense at all, but you still have a lot to master in the game. You know what I mean? And you'll get better and better and better and better. So I mean, maybe this time is used to master all the different parts of the operation that maybe you feel like you need to get better, right?
Yeah, because if I could say something real quick, JP, like you did really good moving up the ranks, man. Like I was sitting back like, holy shit, like, you know, and mind you, I remember seeing your purchases as babies, your hatchlings 3-4 years ago. And I'm like, dude, this guy,
I started with all hatchlings.
I remember, trust me, in every purchase, I was like thinking in my head, like, what is he going to make with this? I just couldn't believe it. But I also saw yourself putting yourself on this fucking, in this category of people who've been in the game 20 plus years. And I feel like this year I'm starting to see that and not that this is you, but I'm saying I'm starting to see that there's people producing shit that they're not ready for. And what I mean for that is like, obviously you want to keep stepping forward, but how do you step forward? Right now, your issue is the numbers. Okay. And that's just not really being properly set up for it yet, you know? So if that's the case, you just got to be patient. Right. And
yeah, I'm not upset. I'm not saying I'm upset about it.
Shit, bro. Wait, what are we, 6 years? You know, you came in the year after me, 2018, right? You came in. Was it 2018 that you came in, JP, or 2019?
Yeah, 2018, and yeah, like I'm not saying this in a negative. I hope I'm not coming across negatively about that. All I'm saying is that I have goals that I still want to reach, but I'm not going to push for those beyond the boundaries of what I can handle until I have the right infrastructure. And I think everybody who because these are things that nobody talks about. Like I watch so many YouTube videos of people buying snakes, and people reach out to me all the time. Everybody is so hyper focused in the beginning about buying, establishing collections.
Right.
But people don't put any time, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's the people that they look up to are not taking enough time to explain to them the infrastructure that is required behind the scenes to support the operation, the time involved, and the grind and the patience. There's so much more to it than just buying a bunch of snakes and breeding. Like, you know, this, I'm up every day now at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't stop till 9 o'clock at night. I still don't have enough time to do videos. I still don't have enough time to do other areas. I don't have the capacity right now to, you know, open a rodent operation like Will Morrow's up here, who's producing thousands of ASFs a week. Like, I don't have that infrastructure in place. And these are all things that people need to consider when they're purchasing, because it'll dictate to them how much purchasing they do, how big they want to get. And maybe people should get their priorities straight from day one. Like, for example, with me, with the lack of males, you know, like I bought a whole bunch of females. I've been suffering for 4 years on just having to pick and choose what females to breed and which ones not, because I don't have the power. So there's so many different steps. What I'm basically trying to say, that goes into the infrastructure that you need to put in place to be successful. It's not just buying snakes. It's not just breeding snakes. There's so much more behind the scenes.
So you could easily admit that you underestimated it, for sure. And you kind of just thought this was going to be a lot easier than what it is.
I didn't underestimate it in terms of, like, I knew it was going to be work, and that's why I quit my job. I've been doing this full time since 2019, and I've some of the best years of my life over the past few years, and I've been, you know, enjoying it, and it's a great feeling. And there are still people that you know, masonry, asphalt guys, I mean, drywall, like, there's still a lot of tradesmen out there that are working twice as hard as I am. Like,
yeah, and with collections, okay? There's people out
with
there
with collections, yeah,
people out there fucking lacing up their boots 4 or 5 a.m. fucking putting in work because they want it that bad. That's why, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but I think
there's some grinders out there, man. You got to respect it.
I totally respect it, but I think people learn very quickly that. And actually, Ozzy was the first one to tell me this early on in the game. Like, this is very early on when I started buying. He said, make sure you have the passion for it, because there are going to be days where you're grinding hard. There's going to be a lot of downs. There's going to be a lot of getting kicked in the shins. There's going to be a lot of negativity. Like, if you are just doing this for a paycheck, you won't last long, because there's so much grinding behind the scenes. And the only way you can get through that is if you genuinely enjoy what you're doing. That's the only way to get through it.
So are you struggling with that right now, wondering if you're passionately doing it or if you're doing it for a paycheck?
No, I absolutely love what I do. And, you know, there's no better feeling to hatching out an amazing clutch. And, you know, like sales have been, you know, down this year, and revenue is down. And I always said, you know, as long as there's food on the table, if I'm breaking even every month, I'm still happy, because I still get to wake up. I get to work for myself. I get to work with my animals and continue my projects. And, you know, I don't need much. I don't need much to live. I don't need, you know, big fancy houses and cars and traveling and all that stuff. Like, I'm a happy guy waking up every day and cleaning snake shit. As cliche as that sounds, you know, I love it. I love what I do, and nothing is going to force me out of this business in terms of the work. And that's why those types of people that have that passion are usually the ones who end up most successful, because they can get through these times a lot easier than those who are not passionate about it.
Thank you, Elias. Appreciate you. $10. Appreciate you. Go ahead. What'd you say, Emilio?
Let me ask you something, bro. Are you ready to pivot and make some change? Are you ready to travel a little bit, to do Tinley?
He's done all that, bro. He used to do
No, I mean, you've vended Tinley already?
Not vended.
We can't. So Canadians can't really vend Tinley, because, like, you can, but the CITES process to ship animals to this, first of all, I have to ship the animals to somebody who would be willing to take in my animals. I would have to trust that person, and they would have to be willing to take in the animals and bring them to Tinley for me. And then at the end of the show, they would have to go back to that person's house while I apply for permits, which the American side right now, you guys have some messed up U.S. CITES department. I don't know. We get our CITES in a couple of weeks. I've heard some cases of you guys not getting your CITES permits for like 6 months. So it's going to be a long process, and it's tough to find somebody in the States that's willing to hang on to my snakes for 6 months while I get permits to bring them back to Canada.
So pretty much the Canadian side, your cost of sales is much higher than ours, right? And cost of sales is higher because you're stuck. You can't vend certain shows like Tinley. Tinley's the biggest investment show pretty much in the country, right? So you automatically don't have access to that. So
we Canadians, we Canadians are at a severe disadvantage to Americans because the biggest industry is in the States. Shipping snakes to the States is expensive. We don't have access. Like, if I lived in the States, I'd probably be doing what Bob Vu does. I'd be probably going to 40 shows a year. Absolutely.
I'd be going all over. Easier. You could adjust.
Oh, yeah.
Easier. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I would have, I'd be able to sell some of the lower end, snakes that don't hit on the odds that I want easier because there's a lot of smaller shows that stuff kind of moves. So you'd still have some income coming in. I would be at a much more advantageous position if I was living in the States doing it. But at the same time, it just means that us Canadians, we need to adjust our business model a little bit differently and do things a little bit differently. There are great shows here. Like I went to the CRBE, which is our big Canadian. It's basically our Tinley. It was in September, and pretty great show. And I could start vending those, and I intend to. I just wasn't ready this year because it's hard to vend a show when you're hatching 30 clutches in October and the show's in September. So you just don't have anything to bring. But next year I'm hoping to finally get a banner. I'm already in talks with an individual who's doing my banners and my custom work. So that's all part of the goal, is to get to start doing some shows and do all that.
I got a question for you, JP. Theoretically, do you feel like if you were able to plow through your vlogs and keep that consistent from the get-go, like let's say at your hottest peak when you're doing your vlogs, if you were to keep that going, do you feel like it would have a different, you'd be in a different place right now with things, as far as with your projects and what you have available, what's sold and all that stuff?
Like what do you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you build a lot of traction on YouTube, especially the way you were doing it. You know what I mean? That's the best way to keep people literally in line to want to be the first to grab your shit, right? And we're talking like, okay, for instance, Justin, right? That guy never misses. Are you kidding me? Like, he's the king at that shit of keeping people on edge of what's happening. You were kind of on that forefront in a bit with your projects, right? So do you feel like if you would have kept that going with YouTube, you'd kind of be more ahead of where you're at right now? Do you feel like personally?
YouTube was a very, very important part of my growth and the initial phase of my brand building, because I have 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I can't remember the last time I sold a snake off Instagram. I can't remember. But every time
I always said followers don't fucking pay your bills.
They don't mean anything. They actually don't mean anything.
It's a fucking number that makes you feel good. I'm just telling you.
My Instagram was never a source of turnover for actual sales for me. But every time I used to put out a video, I would sell a snake off each video, at least one.
Right.
The video content was the most, it was the most important form of social media that I've ever engaged in. And it kills me. It kills me that I can't do it. But I have a problem. I'm a perfectionist. I'm OCD. I don't have the ability just to grab my iPhone and walk around the room and do a shot, because when I'm loading up that footage into the editing software and I'm watching this and I'm seeing, okay, it's fuzzy, it's grainy, the lighting is off, the snake's not being shown properly. It's just not representative of what I want to put out there. I want to put out, high quality content. And if I can't, this is a fault of mine. I'm not saying everybody should follow that rule. It's my fault. It's a personal fault of mine. I don't have the ability to, like, anything that I put out, it has to be the best I can be. And that requires time. Like when I got back from Aussie trip and did the Aussie video and that stuff, I mean, that video took me like 4 or 5 days to prepare. One day was spent trying to learn how to do a different form of edit. How many YouTube videos I watched because I there was a scene that came up. I wanted that scene to interact in a certain way. I didn't know how to do it, so I went and researched how to do it. That took a whole day. You know, and that's just the kind of person I am. And I know it sounds stupid, but it's just
it's more like you need to kind of dig deep and get over these little fucking things that you have going on inside you, because you need to just get the shit done, plain and simple.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
If you can't, here's where I'm at right now, bro. It's funny that you're saying this because I just got the phone with somebody, and I know going in 2024 with the pace that I'm at, with how much I'm doing and what I want to do, I don't have time to post shit on social media no more. Like, I just don't have time for reels. I don't have time for fucking anything as far as like, because it's taking me back. So I'm gonna have to more likely hire someone to start doing all my shit for me, because it doesn't make sense. And you have to really look at where your time's more valuable at. Is your time more valuable, more hands-on with the snakes versus editing? So I'm just saying, you know, I know we're in a tough place, but you know, this is where people in our position need to find who could help us take some of the load off, because we're only one person, bro. And I don't give a fuck who you are. Anyone smart out there eventually gets help or hire someone, or because I mean, dude, I'm just telling you right now, man, time is only so much in a day. And I, just like you, man, I'm a little behind you. How old's your daughter, by the way? She's so cute. Well, how old's your daughter?
She'll be 3 in March.
That's crazy. Okay, my son's 3 months, right? So I'll never forget when your daughter was. I'll never forget when you first had your daughter. It was
time
crazy.
is going by so fast. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. But I understand now, especially, right? Emilio has 3 kids. He's been there, obviously. You know, I
can't complain then because I only have 1.
I said, exactly. Look at this guy's had 3 kids, bro. You know what I mean? But Emilio, can we really talk about how we could find time for shit? I mean, because one of the things that I used to love working at a gym is when somebody would come into me all fucked up, or either overweight, unhappy, and I tell them what they need to do, and they look at me and they say, well, I don't have time. Well, I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you here? You know what I mean? So what do you have to say to anyone out there, Emilio, who's just simply thinking to himself, I just don't have time? You know what I mean?
You got to make a schedule, and you got to cut out the fat. Not the fat in foods and all that. I mean, if there's something that you could cut out of your schedule to make these other things happen, then you got to do it, you know. And you know, maybe these videos, maybe you should make shorter videos that are gonna still be impactful. Like YouTube is going to shorts now, right? I mean, you could do it. It could still be very impactful. Doesn't have to be a really long video. I mean, look, I'm not doing YouTube stuff. I understand. I don't have time for that. But
I know there's a huge community of people out there that really want my content. I get asked all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, what happened to your Patreon? I have a question. What happened to your Patreon, JP? You still have it?
So I had it for I think it was like 6 or 7 months. I put in a lot of time. I actually was putting out I was putting out content weekly on every tier, multiple forms of content, long form videos, edited. Like, I put in the work into that, but it didn't translate into anything that was worth the time, in the sense where I was like, you know, like for 20 people, like I'd rather just put that content out on YouTube and let everybody watch it. Why am I restricting it? You know what I mean? Like, it just got to a point. There are a couple of people that want me to restart it. Actually, I have one guy that just signed up to my Patreon a couple days ago. He's like,
I'm gonna stop you right now, JP. I love you, man, but I could see so many problems already with what's happening. You're like letting go of the biggest shit that's gonna fucking keep your community growing. Like, you need JP fans, which you had. Obviously, you had a Patreon. Even though it was 20 people, that doubles or triples very quickly if you fucking stick to it. So I don't know why you're not helping your people. Like, there's people out there who want to fucking probably support you, and that should be enough for you to want to do the work, you would say, right? Like, even like I look at the Patreon, I fucking glorify my Patreon because they do 10 times more for me than what YouTube ever does, right? So they deserve my attention. They deserve more exclusive content than YouTube does, for sure. So, and that's kind of what you were doing for them. You were giving them special videos, and then you stopped. But imagine if you didn't even stop that. Imagine if you would have said, fuck YouTube, but just gave everything just for your Patreon.
Yeah, I mean, for the 7 months that I had it go, that was pretty much the mentality I had. I was like primarily focusing on the Patreon stuff and putting out some good content. There was a lot of great rodent videos that I did on there with ASFs. Like I poured my heart and soul into that stuff, and
you were
a lot of people
excited.
a lot of people really enjoyed that. But the intention was always to get the YouTube, and it still is. I have full intentions on restarting the YouTube channel. We're doing some changes to the new reptile room now. So once all the construction and painting and stuff is done and the new lights are up, then it's going to be probably back on. But we've been doing a lot of projects the last couple months. I'm also, you got to remember, when I first started, I only had 30 snakes. Now I have 400 plus snakes, and the babies.
You got 400?
More than that with the babies, and the babies like the shit every day. It seems like they're like birds; they shit every day. Where the adults, you can leave them for a week, right?
Okay. I have a question. Have you sat back, scaled through all 400, and Miguel was saying earlier about trimming some of the fat? Like, how much of that stuff are you really needing to have there, or how much of that stuff is needing to be sold?
But sales have been okay. I mean, I've just readjusted the way I've done my sales, and the sales have been,
your voice is crackling right now. So I don't know if I believe you when you say that. Okay.
No, so the high end market has suffered greatly, not just in the price points, but also in the amount of sales. But it has nothing to do with, like, the interest is still there. There's so many people that are still really interested about the snakes, and there's still a lot of interest in it. It's just the economy is down right now, and it's not just our industry; it's every industry. I mean, I don't know what it is down in the States, but I go to Costco to get a carton of milk. It's $10 here. I mean, it's every aspect of life has gotten more expensive. The economy's down. Now you've got wars, so it's all down pressure on every industry. It's not just our industry. Go ahead.
There's less disposable income for sure.
Exactly. But on the flip side, I've seen a major boom in my business on the pet level snakes. Traditionally, I would wholesale that stuff. Very rarely did I put out, $200-$300 snakes. If you go to MORPH Market right now, I have several snakes that are $200. But that stuff is selling. And am I getting rich off that stuff? No, that's not the point. Is it paying my bills and keeping my daughter fed? Yes, it is. And I already said from the beginning, I love what I do. As long as there's food on the table, I don't need anything above that. I'm glad breaking even every month and being happy. And I've just, instead of wholesaling off or getting rid of some of these snakes that are lower value, I've decided this year I'm actually going to post all of them and make those sales to supplement what usually would just come in the form of the investment snake. So I think if you pivot a little bit and you put a little bit more time into some of those customers and those types of sales, I think you'll still do well. There's still an opportunity to do very well.
Called a diverse impact. I mean, you're gonna have diversity in your sales now.
It's actually changed my opinion a little bit, because in the beginning I just wanted to do high end stuff. I didn't want to do anything else. But now I'm like, maybe we should do a little bit of everything. Maybe we should do some high end, but also do some bells and some things that are pretty that you can bring to a local show that, somebody comes by and it's their first pet snake and it engages you. And you never know when those pet people turn in to be the investor. That happens all the time.
And also, right? There's a lot of things that you're making on your way to the triple recessive projects that are fucking awesome. Like you have these POS hets now that you could test and find out they aren't het for it, and price it as is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, let's talk about that. How do you feel about the genetic skin testing and all that? Do you feel like that's going to change the game, especially for you? And have you been utilizing the skin shed test? Hopefully RGI shot to sponsor, but I'm just curious.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't utilized it enough yet to really have a full opinion on it. I do think that if you just think about it logically, it is nice to have. I mean, I'm sending in a couple of sheds here or there because we have a university up here in Canada who's now getting involved with shed testing, which is really awesome. So we don't actually have to go to the States, and because for us to ship a shed, we have to get CITES, and it's a complicated mess.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so anything you got to get CITES for it. It's got to go through U.S. Fish and Wildlife custom inspection.
What is that, bro? What the F?
Yeah. I mean, could you slip it in an envelope and just put it in the post?
My
Maybe,
God.
But it's just not something that I want to risk. You know what I mean?
It's not a living animal. Like I just don't understand. I don't get it. But whatever.
Exactly.
So Canada don't play though. I've seen some of their border wars or
it's not us, dude.
It's nuts.
You guys keep saying that Canada is easy. I can walk into an airport, drop a box on right there, and ship it out, and I can pick up your box, sent to Canada. I can walk right out the front door with it. It's you guys, your U.S. Fish and Wildlife. It's your customs that is an absolute disaster.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Like we don't need import licenses, none of that nonsense. Literally, you can ship a box to the Pearson Airport as long as the CITES is on it. I can grab the CITES, I can go to custom, get it stamped, walk right out the front door with the box.
So that's an automatic non-starter for you to have to get a CITES to send a fucking shit out. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's
God.
good. It's good that we have a university up here who's now participating in the shed, and it's cheaper. She's offering it cheaper to Canadians because she's not doing it for a business. She's doing it to teach her students in the university. So the university isn't looking to make money out of it. So that's a one thing that Canada has a benefit over the Americans. We have cheaper shed testing.
Well, just in case there's a bunch of Canadians in here, because we have about 160 people tapped in. Shout out to everyone tapped in. Can we please get the lights up for JP? Because maybe he'll stop moving his fucking phone so much because it's getting me nauseous. JP, this is the first episode you've not had your phone set, prepared. I feel like this is your first time ever doing a podcast. Can we maybe sit down somewhere, JP?
I'm just comfortable. I'm chilling on the couch, you know.
Just try not to do it so much. You're giving I feel like I'm on a fucking roller coaster, dude. Please. Get the lights up.
So shed testing, yeah, it has a lot of advantages. I actually have several animals that I haven't posted yet. Over 20 snakes that I haven't posted that I will be shed testing first. Because if they prove out to be what they could be, then there's a lot of value there. But at the same time, I do agree with some people who say that it's going to move the industry even faster. And, you know, is that a positive? I don't know. We'll see in time.
We all need to evolve, man, with the times. And, you know, instead of having 5-year plans, and we need to probably adjust our goals every year now. You know,
well, I mean, everything in life is going to take some sort of adjusting, right? Like, especially if it looks like it's easy, it's more likely not. And not that we're saying the ball python game looked easy, but in a sense, if you were coming in at 2020, if you're coming into that era with all the content being put out, it kind of did look like it was easy. It kind of did look like this was a walk in the park, but you know damn well anyone who got into the game and they talked to somebody who knew what they were doing, they were talked the right way. And we're told this shit takes a long time. And you can't put a timeline on this shit, no matter what. I mean, things could go your way the best way possible, but that doesn't guarantee anything. Like, you know, you don't know where the market's going to be at that time. You just have to be ready for almost any scenario. And that's going to always take adjusting. And, you know,
I mean, but that's any business, right?
Any business, period.
Any business, any commodity, any
no matter what you do.
Industry. I mean, if you're not on top of your game, bro, like across the board, you got to be on top of your game. Anyone out there has to be on top of their game because there's always someone behind you trying to take your spot.
I've already identified a few areas in my business that are weaknesses, and 2024 is going to be major improvements. You know, one of the biggest improvements that I'm making is shipping. I now have all the forms. I'm doing my own CITES now, starting in January 2024. Be shipping my own snakes. They'll be much faster. They'll be going out. My goal is to be able to get boxes out every 30 days for next year, so people don't have to wait those long times. So that's just one area that I'm excited to open up, because that'll incentivize, you know, more sales especially from the American side. You know, not everybody wants to wait, you know, 3 or 4 months going through a third party to get shipping, right? So these are just some of the improvements that we're going to be making, and I'm excited for that. Hoping to finally, you know, I've made some great contacts. Scott Wilkinson in the UK. I made a contact in South Korea. So I'm just excited to finally start to branch out and just like you said, you got to evolve over time and you get better. You know, you can't do it all in one day overnight, but you get better as you go.
Yeah, that Asian market, that might be the next domino, man.
Yeah,
and I mean China.
I keep hearing more about it, and it's kind of getting more interesting to talk about. I could tell you,
amazing for all of us, you know. So,
Yeah.
What's going on with the Canadian market in the ball python world? I'm just curious. Like, I don't know what it was that Will said, but Will said something that he's not even worrying about stuff in Canada. He's just worrying about like American sales, and I'm not sure. I just want to kind of talk to you about that and see what's going on in Canada and ball pythons.
I think if you ask, how can I put this? It depends who you ask. Like I know some people here in Canada actually make a point to go to all. So we don't, our shows are not like you guys where it's like, Tinley twice a year. We have a reptile show. I think it's like every 2 months throughout the entire year. And it's mixed with dogs and cats sometimes and birds and plants and all this other stuff. There are some guys who go to every single one of these shows and do fairly well. I don't go to all those shows. So am I going to sell as many snakes in Canada because I'm strictly online and mostly shipping to the US? No, but maybe if I invested more time in doing that, like some of the local guys here, then I would be more successful. So it just depends on what you're doing and what your strategy is. But I will say that I've actually sold quite a few snakes over the summer that were, again, pet level snakes. Typically I wholesale. I don't spend time on that stuff because I'm really hyper focused on the investments. But because we are in a bit of a recession, and because the market is down, I've decided to basically put out everything, whether it's $100, $200, or $10,000. Everything is going on MORPH market. And I've actually been pleasantly surprised at how much stuff locally is moving that is not in those multi-$1,000 range. And it's really been propping up the revenue to keep, at least, like I said, you're not going to get rich off it. But if your rats are fed, your snakes are fed, your family's fed, and you're breaking even, it's still a win in my books. It's still a win. So I think it just goes back to, you just have to readjust. If there are people who are watching this podcast had the mentality that I did, where it's like, I just want to sell high-end stuff. That's all I want to do. And I want to just offload all the other stuff. Maybe you readjust, in times of weakness, maybe you start hitting those lower end markets. And that's not a bad thing because it's going to grow your customer base. And I started, the first snake I bought was not a multi-$1,000 snake. It was an $800 Canadian snake. I mean, $800 Canadian is like $100 American, right? Let's just get that out of the way.
What?
Maybe a little exaggeration, but I'm just saying our dollar is very weak compared to you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I started at that level and I became a major investor after that. So you never know if you pick up a couple dozen customers this year that only bought a $300 snake from you, maybe they are one of them is going to call you in 6 months and say, that $6,000 snake, I want it. You never know.
Have you thought about selling ASFs as a partial business?
I would, but I'm not set up to ramp up production to that size. If I had the space and the ability to do that, which we will eventually, it's just, again, the housing market is down right now. So moving, nobody's buying houses at 10% interest rate, right? Or 9 or 8 or whatever they are at.
Agreed.
So that's on the back burner as well for now until the market rebounds in the housing market. But eventually that would be ideally the goal too. Yeah.
Do you only do ASFs?
I'm restarting my colony as we speak. I've been on rats for the last year. I was doing ASFs exclusively before, but I had to shut down my ASF colony in an attempt to sell the house because who's going to come look at a house with 3,000 ASFs on the property, right? That's just not a great way to present it.
You should just put curtains over. Should just put a bunch of curtains over them or something.
Yeah, so we shut that down. We moved the racks into storage. I was going back to getting rats, and I'm not gonna, unless you really want to dive into that whole topic. I mean, no. Listen, JP, there was a time and place on this podcast. I think you might have been the first guest to really go in on how you felt about ASFs giving you better productions with ball pythons, and you were telling us why. And there was more people who also had that feeling as well. So, and then he went back to rats. So I'm curious if you still feel like that. If you want the shortest answer possible, yes, I cannot wait to get back to full-time ASFs. Let's just put it there. Elaborate.
Is it because you're buying your rats?
Nope. Nope, not at all. It's genuinely everything from growth rates to production, to size, to the frequency of eating, to the cleanliness, the extra time I have to invest in cleaning the collection, the quality of the shits. I mean, I can't remember the last time I fed an ASF to a snake and I came in and shit was a mural all across the sides of the top.
I'm going to raise my hand on that right now. The way a snake shits out of ASF is luxurious compared to a rat. Like,
yeah, man,
it's that I will stand for, and it's less. They shit less too. So I will say that. That's one thing I've noticed. There
is no, and again, this is opinion, and I'm not here to change anybody's opinions, but I will tell you from my experience,
some of that shit's nasty too. Oh my god, the way they smear it.
There is not a single positive point I can say about a rat for ball pythons. Let's just put it that way.
Damn, Emilio,
there's nothing positive about them.
Look, man, I'm not gonna make this pod about debating ASFs, rats, and mice, but what I can tell you is what I can tell you is in the years I've been doing this, if I bred ASFs to feed my collection, I would need a ton of ASFs to have the impact that I get with rats on getting my animals back up to breeding size.
Impossible. You're doing it wrong. I gotta throw those words out. You're doing it wrong.
I'm not gonna make it about this, but my animals, I have animals that have gone 10 straight years because they're on rats. If I bred ASFs and fed ASFs, they would produce half the time. I'll take that to the bank, bro.
And I will. So what I tell everybody is, if something works for you, stick to it. Don't make a change just for the sake of change.
That's like that on anything. You're right.
Yeah. For me, rats don't work. Go ahead. Sorry. The ramp up to where I am today, the first 3 or 4, because I bought all hatchlings. I mean, we're talking even some snakes that I was feeding nonstop. I think I had, after 3 or 4 years, I think I had maybe a handful of snakes over 3,000 grams. Today, I think I have 75 to 80 snakes over 4,500 grams. I mean, just beasts of animals, massive. And yeah, I if it works for you, don't make a sake of change just for the sake of change.
And I will say right now, I love you, Emilio. You're my boy. But I think it's working so well for Emilio, where he's like, why do I even want to try to fuck around and see if ASFs are it? And you haven't really gave
guys. With all due respect, you guys brought up the poop smell.
Yeah,
the splatters.
That's disgusting. I
those,
do that.
Okay, but those are not.
It's a rat.
Those are not the reasons I want to be hearing that ASFs are better than rats.
Oh no,
more impactful.
No. Benefit. It's just a.
I'm just saying.
It's a keeper benefit to not have to deal with that shit. They smell way better. ASFs smell 10 times better than a rat does.
ASFs take 4 times the time.
That's not true.
It doesn't matter. But he's right. But it doesn't matter.
Some people get them.
And the reason it doesn't matter is because a female ASF in her prime is between 3 to 6 months of age, but usually after the second litter, is dropping up to 30 pups at once. So the ramp up to establishing an ASF collection is significantly longer, yes, than the rats. But once you are fully established, you have so many of those things coming out of those ASF's ass that no matter how many bins you pull to feed your snakes, you always have twice as many bins to refill those with. And that's the point that I got to.
I will say this. I defend rats because I don't breed rats. I buy my rats. I only breed mice. If I had to breed rats, I would probably breed ASFs, but I would have so many that I guess I'd have to have so many that I do my best for it not to impact production. And hopefully I'd have snakes that would take two of those ASFs a week if need be, because a really big ASF, guys, tell me, it takes forever.
Not the males. The males take on average between 12 to 16 weeks at most. Females maybe 20 weeks, but you're not you're rarely feeding off the girls because you're holding them all back because you need to keep them young so fast. So it's mostly the males are growing up and they get pretty big. The average male I was feeding off was over 100 grams. 110 gram male, no problem. That's a 14-week-old males. And the thing is that when you establish your collection, if you get to a point where if I'm pulling 2 bins, I'm replacing those 2 bins with this week's production. By the time I get back to those bins, it's 12, 14 weeks later. So they're already back up to size. But in that go ahead.
Now, what I do love is that they will always be edible. Always be edible. They will never outgrow our snakes, and the smell is non-existent. Those two I can never fight. You know, those 2 points.
And you know, Will Morrow said it best. He really said it best from a. I mean, again, we're not biologists, we're not scientists, we haven't done studies on this stuff. But if you just think about it logically, you think about it. It takes a rat pup about a month to get to a small, maybe even less, right? But it takes an ASF maybe 3 months to get to adult size, maybe a little bit less. But here's the difference. The weaned rat that reaches a small has only been, that's about a 2-week window. So that rat, and this is what Will said, and it makes total sense. The weaned rat that got to a small has only been off its mother's milk for a couple of weeks. It's still fatty. It still hasn't gotten higher bone density. It still hasn't developed its adult body yet, its muscle mass, because a rat gets up to 300-400 grams. So it's not, it hasn't grown into its adult body. It's still a fatty rodent. Whereas a 3-month-old ASF is completely developed, has higher bone density, is in its adult body. And I think that's why, at least for my snakes, they seem to just grow so much faster and get so much bigger and get so much more production because they're getting so much more out of the rodent. And back to what MJ said, the cleanup part after is a joke. Like
here's a good point.
I'm with you on what you just said.
Big Dog, hold on real quick. I have a good point, and this isn't to be TMI, but I might be a little bit TMI. But we all been there as humans, right? We've all gone to the bathroom, and it wasn't too pretty. Like it was quite the disaster. And how does that feel your stomach? Like that's kind of pain. Like anyone who shits like that has to be going through some sort of like, oh my God, I gotta fucking shit this out. So that just, I feel like internally, if a snake's shitting like that, that can't probably be good longevity. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're right, JP, would you think?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Are you paying attention, JP? What the fuck, man? I was trying
to.
No,
I read this comment about somebody saying that ASFs take long.
Reading at the chat. Yeah. Jake, don't read the fucking chats, man. It throws you off, JP.
Hey, I've got an 18-year-old female that she used to, when I bred rats back in the day, she was the only snake in my collection that would retire females for me. Yo, female rats are fucking big.
Oh,
yeah,
it's ginormous. What the fuck?
Males are alligator food, pretty much.
Bro, my males were huge at one point. And
yes,
I was like,
bro. So
they were nice.
I could never breed rats ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much time you actually are intending on spending on this topic, but what I will say is this: is forget the opinions on the growth and this and that. And listen, in a market like we are today, where sales are slower, revenue is down, you're always looking for ways to trim like you said, trim the fat. Every company does that. Every company has periods of massive growth, hires a whole bunch of people, spends a lot on marketing, and then things turn around a little bit, and then they have to make adjustments for a couple of years, and it's a whole cycle over again. It happens to every company. If you're in a position today where you're not making enough sales and the rats are costing a lot, because the rats cost a lot of money, like a lot. And it's a lot to deal with, and it actually hamstrings your growth potential because of the amount of money you have to put into your feed. Just do ASS for that reason, because you to feed my collection, you would need about 6, maybe 7 racks of rats between the maternity tubs and all that stuff. I need one. I just bought one Freedom Breeder 50 series 1050 tubs, so it's 50 tubs. Those are my breeding colonies. And I have one hold up rack. That's 2 racks. That is enough to feed my entire collection and all the babies. So the amount of ASFs that you need is a fraction of the rats you need. during the time that you're growing the ASFs, they eat a fraction of what rats eat. So your food bill is way down. And don't take that word from me. Will Morrow's bred rats for 10 years. He knows exactly how much it costs to feed a huge colony of rats.
Will is very pro ASF now, just so you know.
His costs on feeding his ASFs went down substantially. We're talking thousands of dollars. They don't eat anywhere near as much. So you need a very small space. You need a very small colony, and you put way less. And then you're bedding, rather than changing it every 3 or 4 days, it can last
a week,
2, even 3 weeks.
Well, I don't
because
do
they
that.
don't.
3 weeks is gross. Don't do 3
I'm
weeks.
just saying if you really wanted to stretch it out,
you could do well over a week and be okay. But see, with the rat, you cannot go anything over a week. If you go anything a week, it's bad.
I change my mice every 12 days. It works great for me.
Yeah,
mice are not that bad as
so my whole take on it is, if people live in a city or live somewhere where they're in subdivisions or they've got neighbors and they could get in trouble, but they're struggling with the cost of rats. You can fix all of that with soft furs. You can get away with doing that somewhere that maybe you shouldn't be doing it in a small scale. You can drive your costs down to maintain your collection substantially, and therefore continue to grow even in a down market. So it's just a kind of an adjustment. So I would say, if you don't believe in the ASF is better, my snakes are bigger, they're doing this and that, if you don't believe in that, then you can do it just for the sole reason of driving your expense on a monthly basis down substantially, so you're not feeling the pressure in a market like we are in today.
Fully agree.
Facts. But also too, it's quite a bit of adjustment. Like, you know, Milo, you're systematic, bro. You have everything down to a T to your liking so far, right? Like that's
for me. I produce about 3,500 mice a month, and I sell mice, and I sell mice, produce mice for my hatchlings, and now the mice are paying for my rodent bill. My rats go to my adults and my subadults. Mice go to my babies. So pretty much I don't have a rodent bill anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that was my cost cutting measure for the most
part.
part.
You're lucky that you have the space to do that, so you can sell off and use the revenue
and the clientele, the consistent clientele.
And I'm expanding
exactly
because
yeah,
mice are like a super value commodity down here.
Emilio, could you add any more or no? Like, if you could,
add I could add 2 more racks easily.
Add ASFs, bro. What's the big deal? Just add them.
I have a colony now because I have a couple snakes at home. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Dude,
I might
convert this guy. He's gonna be converted, JP.
I've bred them before.
See, I don't like mice, and the reason why I don't like mice, and this is my personal opinion, is because the amount of chew outs. So when I first started, I used to feed mice to hatchlings for their first couple of meals, because that's how I was taught. And the amount of snakes that I went in the tubs 5 minutes later and their entire backs are chewed up. Like, those things are little devils.
Yeah,
you were buying bad mice, bro.
Oh, they were nasty little bastards. So now what I do is, a multi-mammoth mouse, an ASF, African software, which is a multi-mammoth mouse, is part of the mouse family. So I can start my hatchlings on ASFs. And a hopper ASF is a baby. It's not an adult mouse. It's a baby. So the chances of you getting any damage to a snake, even if you forget about it, is so low that it's probably never going to happen. So my first few meals are hopper ASFs, and then I switch to rat pups. So I've cut out mice for that reason, because I just don't trust them. I trust, like, you know how devastating it would be to open a tub and just, you know, oh my God, I needed that snake, and not even just the need of it, just the poor animal.
Yeah, definitely
defenseless, right? Like, it's devastating.
Or if you're about to just send the animal off, like, let's say in like 2-3 weeks, and then it gets like that little nick or that mark on it. Oh, I had that happen.
I could tell you guys, a lot of South Florida is starting their hatchlings on ASFs and then switching over to frozen thawed mice and and then rat pups and whatnot.
So they're going ASF mice and rats. I feel like you don't even need to
go from ASFs and then frozen thawed mice and or rats. But yeah, ASFs, because there aren't a lot of mice out there. Mice are in high demand because, I mean, it's hard to breed them. To breed mice, you only have to breed mice, right?
Yeah.
and you have to really take care of them. See, I don't have any of the problems that JP just spoke of because my mice are very well taken care of.
Yeah, but anything's capable of chewing or fucking biting something, bro.
And
no,
it depends on what
trained
mice
rodent.
you're using, right? My mice are all lab mice. They're, you know, it's lab mice are, you could almost say they're like almost domesticated, you know? They're not scared of you. There's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, I'm with JP. A lot of people down here are using ASFs to get their animals started, you know?
Yep. I honestly, I have not had very good success starting hatchlings on rat pups. I think some of the pups, like some of these hatchlings come out sometimes at 70 grams, 60. Like a rat pup is a massive meal for a snake like that.
The little blob of fat don't move.
Yeah, and then the fuzzies, the fuzzy rats are just so small, and they just lay there. There's nothing stimulating that first feed response. So I have personally not had a great success rate with getting hatchlings. Now, don't get me wrong, the big ones, like I posted the biggest snakes I've ever hatched before. They were 110 grams out of the egg. I've never seen snakes that big out of the egg before. You know, no problems. But on average, I would say my luck starting hatchlings on rats and pups, fuzzies and pups, has not been anywhere near as successful as getting either a mouse or an ASF as their first meal. And because of how dangerous the mice that I've gotten in the past are, I will not risk any of my snakes on mice as their first meals. They'll start on an ASF once or twice and then move over to fuzzies and pups from there.
Other than the cleaner shits with an ASFs, I mean, are we talking about better ratios throughout the end of your breeding seasons? Like, are you getting more females you feel like to go when they're on an ASF or anything like that you've noticed?
So I will say I'm very apprehensive about saying anything like this because I've had one full season on ASFs, and I think it's just inconclusive. I don't think you can really make claims off just one season.
Respect.
And but I will say that it could be coincidence or it could be due to it. Last year, my production, egg count, and just readiness of females was substantially higher on the soft furs. And not just that, the average 6-month-old snake during the year that was an ASF only eater that I started on ASFs as my holdbacks, they would get over 1,000 grams before the year was up. All of my holdbacks from this year on rats, none of them over 1,000 grams. Very few of them are even broaching 800 grams from January, February's production. Like, it's just much, much slower in terms of their growth. I think they shit out way more than they're absorbing. And you can tell there's a reason why
it's smeared all over the tub.
No, but there's a reason why when you feed a medium, there's only 5 snakes in my collection that will get a medium because I trust them. Everybody else is smalls only. But even the ones that eat those mediums, I mean, it's just a massive horse-sized shit at the back of the tub. But I could feed 12 ASFs to that snake, you know, if I want. I don't, but I could. And it would be this little, you know, you guys don't have loonies, but, you know, just a little quarter, a little blob in the back. And then the urates, it's like, God, rat eaters, I need a jackhammer to get those damn urates off the tub. Yeah. With the ASF guys, it's a little toothbrush, a little pss, pss, and off it comes. You know, so
I picked up some big ass urates today.
Yeah. The thing that drives me nuts the most about rats.
Some of that shit stinks too. It's like, fuck, I don't know what takes that shit out. Go ahead, JP, sorry.
Yeah, and so one of the things that frustrates me the most about rats, honestly, if it was just this reason, I would do ASFs only. If just for this one reason, drives me nuts. The rats, if they don't get eaten within the first 5 minutes, they go like this and trench and dig up the tub, and there's bedding all over the water bowls and all to one side of the tub, and I have to go back in there and change out the whole water, clean the whole tub, and it just
ASFs are retarded. They just want to get eaten.
Yeah, ASFs will just go to the corner and sit there and wait till they get eaten.
Yeah.
So my tubs are like perfect after. My cleaning is way easier. When you have 400 snakes, these are all things that you think about, because it's like, if I can streamline and make my cleaning process easier, why wouldn't I? Why would I want to spend the extra day cleaning tubs that are way messier were just bedding all over the place. The rats dug holes and they put bedding up in the water bowls and this and that. Like I could have changed the water the day before and I got to go do it again 400 times. Right. So it's just like, these are all things that I look for into trying to improve my time is just for that reason. I would do ASFs if everything else was not true.
I
Are
think
we done with rodents?
No, we're not. The biggest thing that stands out to me that we're talking about is saving money, though, too. I mean, let's be real. We're talking about
huge savings.
I didn't even think about that part. Like I'm over here thinking about what I'm smelling and observing, but the money part, I feel like
you got to get Will on here and ask him how much money he's saved since he's moved to ASFs from his.
I mean, we talked about it. We haven't gone to figures, but we talked about it. But we'll bring him back on the show. We'll talk about it. Well, all right, we're getting off rats. We're getting off rodents finally. Okay. Yeah. Fucking goddamn. Get the likes up. Likes are not even up yet. Can we get the likes up and I'll get off rats? Question for you, JP, because I had some type of feeling when this happened to me earlier this year at the show. I had something that I thought wasn't going to be sold. I had a super dwarf production of mine at my table. I had it priced. Even had other people at that show who bought snakes from me. But then somehow some of my other half of my productions ended up on someone else's table and the prices completely slashed. Like I'm talking like beyond slashed. Made me feel some type of way. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty upset. What have you felt looking at the prices comparisons from like last year to this year? And what have you done to adjust with the bloodbath price slashing and whatever the fuck people are calling it right now?
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like, it's not.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
It's not fun to watch things that you yourself highly value in your projects, go the other way in some cases to the extent, but it hasn't changed my overall view. I still love what I do. I've just changed what I've been doing. So, and this could be wrong, and we'll find out in 2 or 3 years from now if this is the right move. But if it's not the right move, I don't even care, because there are some things I look at. So every time I go on Morph Market, I try to do comparisons before I start pricing stuff. And I just look at some of these prices and I'm like, man, I paid $6,000 for a blackhead clown this year. I bought it from Miguel. All right. And then 7 months later, they're at the shows for $500.
That's drastic. It wasn't that crazy.
No way.
Now,
1,900.
No. Hey, be specific, bro. Come on now.
You can't go 6,000 to 900.
You're gonna scare the shit out of people.
That's not fair. You can't do that, bro. Because I bought one when it wasn't like close to 1,500 yet. So hold on. Let's take a deep breath. It was a.
I'm just saying what was reported to me from the last Tinley show. I wasn't physically there. I don't know, but that's what reported to me. So rather than participate in that, my viewpoint has just been, I'm just going to hold stuff. There's a lot of things that I have that maybe I was going to sell this year that I decided to hold back because, like you said, I mean, if you've been around the game a lot longer than I have, you said it yourself that this is temporary and this happens all the time. And I believe it. It happens to every company, every industry. It's the same thing. There's always periods of growth with periods of downturn. I want to be set up and ready for when the next boom comes. So I would rather keep a lot of this stuff than take a small chunk of change today. You know what I mean? If this project is something that I'm passionate about and I genuinely want to develop it, I'm just going to keep more than what I intended. And it might be the bad move, but I'll find out. I'm perfectly content with hanging on to snakes that I feel as if are not genuinely priced. And I don't think the price crash on some stuff has anything to do with the value of the projects. I think it's just the interest is there. It's just like you said, there's a lot of things in the economy right now that are putting some pressure on people's, disposable income, and it's temporary. I really don't think it's going to last forever. So I think I'm playing the long game. I'm being patient. I'm holding a lot of stuff back, and I have axe prices on some stuff that I really don't need, just to kind of be in line with everybody. But at the same time, I have a lot of stuff in my holdbacks that I'm being tight-lipped about, that I'm just sitting on, and I'll sit on it. And I think, I don't know, we'll see if it pays off in the end.
I'm with you, bro. If there's something has more value to you than what the market is valuing it at, you keep it, bro. Because if I'm not comfortable selling something, if it has a lot more value to me than what the market's giving it at the moment, I'm not gonna sell it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Are you fired up about everything you're working with right now, JP? Like, do you have like the same kind of feeling amongst all your projects, or is there maybe some on the lower end and you're just like, I could kind of maybe get rid of this if I wanted to?
I've made some cuts. I mean, I've thinned out. I mean, I don't want to. Do you want me to name specifics? I don't want to.
Yeah, get specifics, please.
I've cut Sunset out. You know, it wasn't something that I was ultimately that passionate about. I really value Monarch, and I'm going Monarch direction over Ultramel. So I've downsized my Ultramel game. I've thinned out some pies. So yeah, like you only have so much rack space. You know what I mean? Like you only have so much you can work with. And the amount of holdbacks you need in every single project to make ground in it, like every single gene, it's like you got to plan for, you know, there's 6 to 12 snakes in that project to make ground in. I just don't have the space and the ability. So I have to, in the beginning, I was really just acquiring a whole bunch of stuff, but I've been really slowly kind of more hyper focusing on things that I've been passionate about. And I would say I'm not fully there yet, but overall, with what I have, I'm very, very excited. Yeah, like there's been, even in an economic downturn, there has been no loss of passion on my end, because, you know, I'm just really proud of where I am today and where I was 5 years ago and what's hatching out. And I look forward to the future.
So digging deeper, bro.
Back to Sunset. Well, like, what are you going to do right now? Because that's a project where, like, God bless that project, man, because obviously there's quite a bit of time. It still needs to be around and kind of prove itself. But then there's just people who are just like, I've seen enough and I'm good, right? I feel like you're almost on that end where you've seen enough. But like, how do you still delegate a project, either letting go or keeping something like Sunset? Like, is that better off just waiting out, like we were talking about waiting certain things out? Or do you think it's better to let that go sooner than later?
I think some people have more intellectual capacity than others. Okay. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. If Justin decided to go on vacation for the next 10 years or just sell his whole collection and said, JP, there you go. There's the keys facility. Go wild. I don't think I would be able to manage that amount of different projects at once. I don't think I have the intellectual capacity to do that. And so if I try to spread myself thin across too many different things, I feel as if maybe I won't be the best at the things that I am super passionate about. So I have to trim some fat. And when I say I got rid of Sunset, let's just be clear. I'm not saying it because I think it's a dog shit project and I don't care and I've seen it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I only have so much space. I have certain goals. For example, one of my biggest focuses is the DG Hypo Clown stuff. I love that project. And what I want to accomplish with it, I need almost 2 full racks of holdbacks of different genes and stuff that are triples and double head visuals. Like I need so much stuff. And for me to take a dozen of those snakes out and replace them with that project is not only going to hamper me in that project, but it's still not going to give me an avenue to make any meaningful ground in the other. So I feel like depending on where you are, how much space you have, what resources you have available, you need to make those hard decisions. And it's not always an easy decision. It really isn't. Yeah.
Something I do have a little bit of faith in Sunset deep somewhere inside me, where I think someone's going to find that right genetic. I just don't, I think it's gonna be a long time. That's what I really, you know, as far as for me to be a believer in it. But also I want to talk about Pied with you, because I remember a while ago when I had you on the show, you're definitely on the fence about Pied. Where's Pied at in your collection? Do you still have that moving along, and is that still relevant to you right now as far as Pied goes?
Yeah, I've just taken a different approach. So I'm kind of just moving on from the multi-gene stacked codominant Pieds, and I'm just trying to move forward a little bit. So now all my pairings are making triples. I've got, you know, a few animals that are triple head DG clown Pieds, hypo DG clown Pieds, the clown Pied stuff. I'm just trying to move beyond just the single gene stuff. So I'm just pivoting a little bit into, you know, what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's just one of those examples.
You have Exantic stuff? I can't remember.
I do. I have an Exantic clown. It was 66% head DG. It unfortunately did not prove out to be DG. I was very sad about that.
That sucks. I mean, it's part of the game, but fuck.
Yeah, but I still made my first clutch of triple hets, DG Xanthic Clowns, and I have another clutch coming that is going to be, again, chocolate triple hets, because I love chocolate. See, that's one of those genes that I love. I wouldn't mind having chocolate in every single tub.
Me too.
You know?
I'm a big fan of chocolate. I want to say, well, it was big country constrictors out of Texas, and then that's when I noticed you had a lot of chocolate stuff, and now I just seen it just fulfill its hype. Chocolate is the real deal. I love chocolate. I really do, especially because you got to make it a super, right? Would you say that, Jordan? If chocolate's better being a super for sure.
I have 9 plus 8, 15 plus 6. I have 22 eggs to make the super chocolate DG Hypo Clown. They're all going to be DGs, so it's double het to double het because the DGs are visuals. Damn. So I have very, very good chances, and the first one is dropping next week.
That's amazing.
Fingers crossed.
Wow.
But see, again, it goes back to, the last 3 years, I've bred a DG Clown to my pastel chocolate DG Hypo 3 years in a row, the same pairing, to make what I now have over a dozen females that are visual DG chocolates, double hets. Yeah. And I did that. And so that takes up a lot of space because it's a lot of females. But I did that because I'm trying to improve my mathematical odds to hit those combos that I want. I love the DG Hypo stuff, clown stuff so much that I would not be willing to take out a half dozen of those snakes and replace them with something else like Ultramel, Sunset, or whatever. Not because they're bad, just because I value this project. And just because I value that project doesn't mean that everybody has to, right? I think everybody, and these are things that you'll figure out along the way. In the beginning, it was all about buying, trying to diversify, trying to get as much stuff as possible. And then over the years, you start to learn which ones are your favorites, which genes you like, and then you start to focus a little bit. And I think, in the beginning, there's too much pressure on newbies to say, you got to pick a direction. You got to have all the answers today. It's like asking a college kid that just came out of school or out of high school, like, you got to pick your future. Like, I didn't even know what the hell I wanted to do until I was 28.
Who put that pressure on you, JP? I'm just curious. Like, did somebody specifically put that pressure on you, or do you feel like you're just kind of mentally thinking that?
I think it was just the overall sentiment. I mean, I think there's always a lot of like, you got to figure out your own path. You got to do this. You got to do that. You don't have the answers in the beginning. You have to learn that along the way. So
you can't rush it. The thing is, you can't rush it. Like you can't
rush it. You will find your path. It may not come tomorrow. Yeah, and your path may not.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you really pay attention, JP, to some of these people who've been doing it 10, 20 plus years, they're still fucking figuring shit out. It doesn't stop. Like, there's no I mastered it. You know what I mean? Because you're always having to adjust, and you're always having to evolve with the times. And it's always going to be funky. It's always going to be weird. So sometimes it's going to be fucking glorious. Sometimes it's not going to be as glorious, right? But you just got to be, you have to be like water, like that fucking Bruce Lee fucking saying. You got to just flow with things, bro. It's the way it goes. You know what I mean?
On top of that, something that that was not hot maybe 5 years ago is gonna be hot now.
Yeah, you know that.
Things change. Things constantly change. Yeah.
Yeah, they are changing really fast, and I just don't think that people need to have all the answers today. I think you can just do the best you can in the beginning and establishing a collection and buying things that you think will pan out, and things that are trendy, and also things that you want to take some risks on. And along the way, it may come to you in 6 months, it may come to you in 5 years. Eventually, you'll find something that it makes you super passionate, and that's kind of like in the sweet spot I'm in right now. I'm starting to discover some of the certain things, like my top 3: Cypress, chocolate, and redhead. These are my 3 top favorite genes right now. So It's like I'm hyper focusing now on. Stranger and redhead are tied for number 3rd.
Right.
So you learn along the way.
I want to take this time to shout out the celebrity appearance in the live chats tonight. Straight Fire Reptiles. I mean, I gotta say, every time I've had you on the show, either Levance, Wesley, or the CEO Anthony's in the building showing you support. So I gotta say, man, how does it feel to have people who've been in the game as long as Straight Fire Reptiles back you up and kind of support you? Did you not hear anything I said? Am I muted?
Sorry, was that for me?
Who else? Yes, you.
Okay, sorry.
Guy, man.
Oh my god, dude! I've been up since 7:30 in the morning. Give me a break.
That ain't shit. I've been up since fucking 7:30.
I know you messaged me at 7:30 in the morning. For you, that was like 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
I'm like,
come on, man. V Unit's getting going at like 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bro. Let's go. Come on.
Holy crap. Sorry, repeat the question.
I'm just saying, there's people out there, you know, such as people who've been in the game long, like Straight Fire Reptiles, other big breeders who kind of root for you and want to see you do good. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it feels great. It feels great. I mean, I again, that's something that I developed over time. You know, I've established a very, very small network of like-minded individuals, and you know, every day while I'm cleaning snake shit, I'm on the phone with somebody. You know, we're talking projects, snakes. You know, it's you get a good support network, and it props you up even in the downtimes. It props you up. You know, I think everybody, if you have that person or multiple people that you can call in times of down, like when things are down like they are, it just helps lift your spirits and makes the process so much more fun. I mean, it is what it is. So I'm very blessed that so many people wish well upon me, and you know, I work hard every day, and I'm going to keep working hard every day. I'm not going nowhere. That's for sure.
I mean, that's what we say, other than the reptiles, the best thing is the people, because look at the people you connect with because of the reptiles, right?
Oh, I've made so many friends. I mean, God, something like Ozzy still took me to the very best freaking dinner I've ever had in my entire life. Bob Vu's accommodations, I mean, for a week, twice. Hung out with him for a week, took me to the nicest sushi restaurants, took care of me, Scott, took care of everything. Like you just make friends. You get to travel around. They put you up in their places, take you out for like, there's so much, you know, you make good friends in the industry, and it just makes everything so much more fun, and it makes you things to look out forward to.
We are blessed to do what we love. We just need to temper our expectations and maybe grind a little harder and come up with different ideas. You know? Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like, JP, some of the people you met while you were coming up in this, I don't want to say surpassed, but your work ethic just was like way better than yours, and it's like you had no choice but to just kind of just keep going, and you know what I mean? And then you slowly just kind of detach, you know what I mean? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I mean, it's my nature. Like whatever I do, I always want to work hard at it, and you know, having, like I said, those people around you that prop you up, it just makes things, it fires you up in the morning, you know?
Yeah. Not
everything is going to be rosy, you know, and hunky-dory every single day. Like, that's just not reality. That's not life. You know, everybody's going to go through periods of, man, like, what am I doing? Questioning things. And, you know, it happens to everybody. Some people go through depressions. You really need the network of people to get you past those moments. And the reptile industry has been very good for that. I've met a lot of great friends and a lot of great people in this industry, and just overly accommodating. It's been awesome. And traveling, who doesn't like traveling? I mean, yeah, am I going to Greece or the Basilica in Italy? No, but I'm just as happy to go hang out with you in California, and you promised to take me out to that really nice beach and show me some good Mexican food.
You never came. I was so excited to have this VIP taco tour wristband with your name on it and everything, and you never came.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day you'll come. I mean, well, you'll get back going, bro. Don't worry about it, man. Just
yeah,
day by day, bro. But I will say, man, like, you know, it's really not the tough times that last. It's the tough people, right? Like but it's really like, if you want it more enough, like, no matter, things could be way worse. You know that, right? Like, it could all be worse for all of us right now.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like you said, no matter how good or bad you feel, you have to be your own hype man. Like, you have to fucking find a way to fire yourself up and get through the day, even when you don't want to. And sometimes, even though you have friends, you got to rely on yourself for that shit. So you always have to wake up with that purpose, man. Like, I always try to, you know, I wake up early because I'm fired up about shit normally, you know, and I think that's important for people to have. Like, they need to stay fired up, you know, especially when times are like this, you know, not that they're miserable, but I'm just saying, like, you have to be excited, especially during a time where a lot of people aren't excited, you know. This is a good time to be excited right now. The future in the ball python world is fucking looking great because where we're at right now, I think. And I think that's the truth.
The state of the market has really forced me to keep a lot more than I typically would. So I just, the way I look at it is, man, in 2 or 3 years, if we get that big boom again, I'm going to be ready for it this time.
Yeah.
And that is something that I look forward to. And I don't want to make it sound like it's doom and gloom, because it's not. I mean, things could be a lot worse than what they are. They're not that bad. They are. I think we all just got used to this whole COVID thing where people had a lot more money. people, low interest rates, taking out big loans, mortgaging houses,
Bro,
stimulus checks,
you and I,
name it.
you and I've seen one wave, bro. Okay, like we haven't even seen shit. You know,
Yeah.
Mark Bailey, shout out to Mark Bailey. Mark Bailey, you want to talk about a guy who's been in this fucking game for generations, dude. He's told me that what we're going through is nowhere near worse shit that he's seen in this.
But this is a blessing in
my
disguise.
God.
For anybody who is looking to buy their collections or get established today, man, if I came into the industry today with what I came in with in 2018, the damage I could do. I mean, this is your chance to pick up. Like, first of all, the projects over the last 5 years have just skyrocketed. I mean, the speed at which some of these projects has developed over the last 5 years is insane. So what you can buy today, you know, is insane. You can buy amazing stuff, and you can get a lot of great
prices for affordable
prices and great deals. I mean, you can do so much more damage with an investment today, whether it's a 10,000, 100,000, a million, doesn't matter. Whatever you got, you could do so much more, I think, right now than you could even last year. So it's a huge advantage to people who are looking to establish themselves.
I agree.
This is a time right now, and like I said, man, it's kind of. It's unfortunate, but it's fortunate. But you could fucking take advantage of some shit right now, big time, because how people don't even believe in the future, and that's a sad thing to be in something where you aren't excited for the future. Because at the end of the day, you should be loving the animals, right? Like I get it, these are morphs, I get it, these are high-end Pokemon cards in a sense, but it's a fucking living animal, right? So at the end of the day, you should be happy to want to take care of something like that because we're lucky. We're all lucky to do what we do. Holy shit, it's fucking.
All right, so. What I would say is you've been through the COVID bounce, right? The COVID high, and that taught you, you know, something. Now you're gonna learn the hard part of the market. That's only gonna make you better. You know,
we're ready for it. We've made a lot of changes to my lifestyle. Like, I'm a very simple guy, dude. I don't need much, and we actually set ourselves up because I would quit my job in 2019. You know, I sold my house in the city. I moved out into the country. Our dollar went further. We lowered our mortgage by half. You know, wow. I didn't even have a car for the first year. I took a train everywhere. I don't know if you guys, I've told you this story before, MJ.
You were taking a train? I didn't know about that. Did you tell me?
Because I was a sales manager at a car dealership, and I worked in a car dealership for 7 years. So I had a free car and free insurance for 7 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And then when I left the dealership in 2019, I had to get a car because I had to give it back, obviously, right? But with no income and just a bunch of hatchlings, I wasn't comfortable going out, you know, getting a car and paying for insurance. So for the first almost a full year, it was either my partner driving my lame ass around or me hopping on a train, literally a train, and getting everywhere. And that's how I got everywhere. And you know, so what I'm trying to say is we've made a lot of changes in our life, and I think this is good for anybody who is capable. Whatever you can do. Not everybody can go to that extent. I get it, but if there's anything you can do, less eating out, less movies, less less trips, whatever you got to do to cut costs to weather some of these economic downturns, you do it. Every company has to do these adjustments during this cycle. Every company goes through these cycles. You know, it's not always up forever, unless you're Apple or Tesla.
Well, what I can tell you is I've cut my costs 41%, and my production this season was down 16% for various reasons. So obviously my sales are going to be down. I've had some bad odds, but I'm still selling a ton of stuff, still making money. But yeah, my sales are easily going to be down 20% from last year. So again, we need to track all these things. And for those that don't know business, maybe you should take, or, you know, read a book on business or take some business classes. I mean, those things will be super beneficial to you.
You definitely got to
know. You're going against real businessmen out there, you know, not you.
Not only that, a real economy, like a real
and pay attention to the economy. Pay attention to what's happening in the world, geopolitics and whatnot. You know, if you pay attention to all these things, you'll be fine, you know. But you're going against real business people out there. This is a real business. There are people that live off of this. Me and JP are full-time ball python breeders.
Hey, what about me, bro? What the fuck?
You're full-time reptile guy.
I guess that's true.
You got every box pretty much checked off, bro.
But I only make money on ball pythons. So.
I can't call you a ball python breeder, bro. Okay.
Ball pythons is the only thing I'm good at. Unfortunately, I have to admit it.
Shit, man. You got every box covered, bro.
No, but it's so true. Even what you guys are saying right now, this
Make
is
adjustments.
This is all you have to, especially when your lifestyle is a little bit like not realistic. You got to look ahead and make that adjustment now before it's too late. And I'm curious, JP, when did you really start looking at your business and saying, I need to start making this adjustment now? Like when did it click in your head?
So I always like to have a plan B, a plan of escape out of anything I do. Sure. So I do things proactively. So when I already knew that I wanted to do this full time, which, arguably was a little premature. I mean, I had no production on hand. I think I had that year, I had like 4 clutches on the ground. I was like, I got my first couple of people that bought snakes. I was like, yep, JP's going full time. Right. So it was a little premature, but I knew I wanted to be sure that there was never going to be a situation where I was going to be under financial stress and pressure that I would have to make bad decisions. So I put myself in a position and I sacrificed. I'm a city guy. I've told you this so many times. I'm a city boy at heart. I was born in Toronto, deep city. I love sitting in traffic just to pass the time. That's my pastime. No, I'm joking. I'm just saying, I love the city. I am not a country guy. I don't like country. I don't like to not be able to sit out on my porch past 7 o'clock because I'm getting pelted by mosquitoes. That's not my idea of fun, right? But I made that, for example, that one change. I was like, man, if I want to lower costs, it's not going to be living in the big city, because housing prices, you get half the house for twice the price. So I'm going to move out of the city, take my equity that I have in my current house, buy something maybe a little bit nicer out of the city, lower some costs. I didn't have a car for the first year. We stopped going to movies. We stopped doing things. I really made all these changes early so that I was never going to be in a position where I would be financial. And I get it. It's not that simple and easy for everybody to do that, but there's always something you can do, whether it's to that extent or somewhere in between. Any little bit helps. Whatever you can do to try to put yourself in a position, because when you start getting in a position where, because I've seen it, I've seen guys like, man, I really wanted to hold the snake back, but I need money this month. I got to sell the snake. That quick pay that you get today is going to cause way more harm to you not being able to breed it in 3 or 4 years and developing that project. You don't want to be in that position. That's not a good position to be in. So just do whatever you can do to lower those expenses and live frugally in the beginning so that you're never under that financial stress. And that's what I did early. And I'm proud to say that today, I don't need much to live. I mean, I don't need much. And I think everybody should strive to do whatever they can to get their costs down early so that they can weather not only storms, but also, be ready for anything, even a bad year. We could be in a boom market in the middle of COVID, but you just had some bad odds. That could happen too, right?
I mean, like
you
I
never
said,
know.
This isn't the worst the reptile hobby's seen at all. So this ain't shit. I don't want to say this isn't shit, but fuck, like it could be worse. We gotta be ready for that.
Our market's as big as it's ever been.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's a blessing. So,
and it's gonna continue to grow too. It ain't gonna stop because this is becoming more of the preferable. Like, we're going back to the pet side of things, right? Which obviously, how do you think I got into this? I didn't stumble into this like you did, JP. I mean, you kind of went into this. You're that scenario where you came into this wanting to breed because of the situation, the way you met Billy and whatever, right? But for me, I was just needing an escape through my life, and I solely had a ball python as a pet growing up. But I came into this wanting just things as a pet, and the next I got introduced to this whole world that I became obsessed with to today. But a lot of this stuff stems from people just being pet people first, and that's like the groundbreaking thing, is getting people from the pet world, if they want to, coming over to the side of producing and whatnot. But it's just, you have to show love to both sides. You know what I mean? It's the only thing.
See, I'm diversifying in fish, so that's gonna be my saving grace.
Is that freshwater? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah,
dude,
it's gonna be JP Reptiles and aquatics soon.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay, I was like, what? I got a question, man. What don't you have maybe floating in your projects that you don't mind adding, that you're pretty much, maybe waiting to add or just whatever? Anything out there you're thinking about?
I don't know. Not really. I mean, I'm pretty happy. Like,
You have it all? You have puzzle?
I have puzzle. Yeah. I have a female and a male. I'm not anywhere near as advanced as the puzzle guys, but I've just got my feet wet this year. And so I'm going to try to make some ground there. Just working at my own pace. But that is one of the underrated genes I think I kind of missed the boat on a little bit. I wasn't.
Yeah, puzzle's sick.
I was influenced from outside sources to stay away from puzzle early on, and I unfortunately took that advice and followed it, and I think it was a big mistake. And I think I'm going to learn that is one of those genes that was basically on a silver platter in front of me that I never took a bite from.
What's outside sources? I'm just curious what that means. What do you mean outside sources?
Like, my circle today is different than my circle when I first started, and the circle when I first started was anti-puzzle. So
got it.
I was influenced negatively towards that gene, and boy, it's a big mistake. I think it's. I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff that people have sent me pictures of that have not been posted yet, and just what it does. And I think it's just one of those. I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be really big. Will it be clown or pied? I don't know, but I think it's going to have its place on the Mount Rushmore.
Puzzle's amazing. My thing is that I want to ensure I keep that puzzle pattern at all times.
Yeah, that's what makes puzzle, you would say,
now,
right?
So to me, it's probably, I could be wrong, okay? And MJ knows that I have a different style to my game. Maybe for me, it's less stackable than other genes. For me.
Like meaning less is more with puzzles, what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to keep the puzzle pattern. That's what makes it beautiful to me,
And you've heard about puzzle and clown not being ideal, right? JP, have you heard about that?
Yeah, but I also like, this is the problem. I don't know if it's necessarily a problem, but I think whenever a new gene comes on the market, everybody's first question is, how's it going to look in clown? Yeah. And I think if we can just get off that mindset and just kind of appreciate what puzzle is on its own, why don't we say, okay, well, I don't want to make a puzzle Pompeii, for example. I want to make a puzzle Pei. I want to replace the clown with the puzzle and see what that looks like. And if we can get on that mentality, it's going to open up so much bigger. I think we need to stop with this what does everything look like in one gene? Like clown. Clown is great. It's 90% of my collection. I love it. I'm never going to get rid of it. But I'm saying with puzzle, we just have to readjust how we think. I think, and who knows? Have we seen 2 or 3 gene stacked puzzle clowns come out yet? No, we could still be on the cusp of discovering something that turns out great with it. It could be. It's so early, right? Which is weird to say that because puzzle's been around forever. So it's weird to say that we're early in the project, even though it's been around for so long.
Well, I mean, puzzle has had not so great moments, and now it's gotten great. So it's gone through quite a bit. Puzzle, you know what I mean? But it's here. It ain't moving. I mean, it's not leaving. I'll tell you that much. I got a lot of people just saying puzzle's taking over clown at some point. That's just.
I don't know if I would go that far, but
just some people. From what I've heard.
I don't see that. But it is hot as a motherfucker right now.
Yeah. I don't think, and that's something else I don't look at. I don't look at puzzle and think, is it going to take out over clown? Why does it have to take over clown? Why do we have to?
Well, I mean, no. Okay. What
can we not just appreciate it? Why can't it run next to clown?
What I mean is like that next foundation morph, right? Because clown is that for the most part. What 4 years ago, somebody were coming to the hobby and they're like, "What do I get into?" Clown.
You're right, MJ. It's that next gene that everybody's gonna get. You're right.
Right. And I'm curious, is there a puzzle sunset out there yet? Has anyone seen a puzzle? I mean, I don't know if that's even.
I saw the puzzle Ultramel that Brad Boa hatched out. I saw that at the show. I thought that thing was pretty cool.
Was that recent? Was it a baby?
I think he brought it the second time and it got a little bit bigger, but I saw it when it was first hatched. I mean,
Josh Jackie hit one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember there was one that first Ultramel sunset that looked really crazy looking, and then it aged to look not as cool looking. So I'm just curious what it's going to look
But if the puzzle Ultramel looked that good, then I can only imagine what the puzzle Monarch would look like. You know what I mean?
like.
So
Ooh.
as an example, so I it doesn't need to beat out Clown. Even if it's 2 steps behind it, it's still a hot gene because that's how good Clown is.
You got Monarch and Ultramel in your collection?
I'm down to 1 female Ultramel. I'm only keeping her because she's had hypo. So I'll just tinker with her, but my focus is Monarch for sure.
Ooh. And what are your feelings with Monarch as far as like why you're doing that? Like, why are you choosing to go Monarch over Ultramel?
Primarily because Ultramel has so much more ground in its project development than Monarch does. So I feel like Monarch is newer. It's something that I can maybe work in a base level. You know, I'm never going to, by the time I create an Ultramel clown, you know, there's going to be multi-gene Ultramel clowns out there, but I have a good shot at making something really cool with Monarch. And I also like the purples. I mean, have you guys seen the spot nose Monarch clown that Maddox posted?
Dope.
Oh my God, man. The blacks were just like deep purple. What a beautiful snake.
What are the genetics? What was it? A what? Spot nose what?
Spot nose Monarch clown. Since last season when Justin hit it, the Monarch clown stuff took over the Ultramel clown stuff for sure.
Oh, it's beautiful. But again, it doesn't mean that Ultramel is crap.
Now, Monarch pieds, not so much.
Yeah, see, Ultramel pieds, I agree with you, are way nicer. I have not seen a Monarch pied that I like.
Damn, that shit's hard. Hey, I'm so sorry, guys. That shit is hard, bro.
Yep.
That is hard, bro.
It's amazing.
That shit's on Ultramel.
But no, because the Monarch pied is not as nice as the Ultramel pied.
Fuck pied. No offense. We're not talking pied right now. I'm talking about this thing.
Yeah,
right
that
now.
thing is dope. Bro.
I'm talking about this thing right now. This thing is fucking sick. Shout out to Maddox Moore. Monarch.
That's a snake anybody would want in their collection right now.
Right, 100%.
This guy doesn't even want to know how much I would offer him from that snake. Like,
damn,
that snake is amazing.
Dog. I think isn't even in the. Is he? Oh, he's right here. Check it out. Damn. I guess, yeah, he said Puzzle Monarch's already out. That's tight. But hey, props to you, homeboy. This shit is sick. Oh my God. I can't stop looking at it. But that's the kind of tone. I mean, it's just like, and I think you're right, JP. I think the reason why I feel this way is because there's so much ground being made in Ultramel and it's kind of like there, but this isn't here yet. Like this is like what we're missing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And not to compare or anything. It's just another thing to add to the mix. And it's cool. This is fucking sick as fuck.
Probably amazing.
I've seen in a while.
And then let's add a dark gene to that. Woof.
Yep.
Damn.
Crazy.
And I'm sorry, JP, remind me, how deep are you right now with Monarch? Like, what has it gone into so far? Like, what work have you done with Monarch?
So I kind of got kicked in the teeth a little bit last year. I had that. Remember, I was talking to you last time I was on the podcast about some incubator problems and
yes.
So the 2 bottom shelves of my incubator, which was overstuffed, the Monarch clutch was there. So I had 10 eggs from her, but only 3 of them survived. I kept all 3. It was a 1.2. So I have 2. They're almost adult females, double het Monarch clowns. One's leopard, one's just a normal. And I have a fire Batman maker double het Monarch clown male that I held back. So this year, 2024, I'll be I don't know how good my odds will be off 2 clutches. If I get both clutches off double het to double het. But I could hit it. I could hit a Batman Monarch.
I'm excited, man. This is cool. This is why I love this shit. This is so exciting. Only because there's just so much yet to be revealed, and it's not going to stop. It's never going to stop.
And we get our little business and our numbers in order, and these are the things we should be focused on.
And what I want to do to wrap up tonight here, what I want to do right here to wrap up tonight, JP, is I kind of want to get this already out there in the open. Like, is there frustrations you're working through right now dealing with ball pythons, or do you feel like maybe after tonight, it's not more frustrations, it's just more passing the time and getting to the place where we want to get at? Like, what do you have to really say about your feelings in the ball python game, the market, sellers, customers, all that stuff?
I don't have anything negative to say about, breeders, sellers, buyers, all this stuff. I mean, this is all standard stuff, you know, especially like I see people complain online about how somebody reached out to them for a $200 snake and they're a headache, they're a hassle and this and that. I'm like, I get it. You know, some of these customers are a little bit more difficult to deal with than investment people, but at the end of the day, sales is sales. You know, I worked in sales for 7 years selling cars. You think it's, if you were struggling to sell a snake or you don't want to deal with a customer with a snake, try sitting at a desk the entire Saturday trying to make a car sale, knowing full well you have no income unless you sell that car, and that customer test drives 10 vehicles, tells you that after grinding your gears at 6:30 at night when you're supposed to be gone home, and says, oh, I'm going to talk to the cactus in the potted plant on Sunday and I'll come back to you on Monday. You never see him again while your peer sold 3 cars. Like, trust me, we have it pretty easy. So I don't have any complaints with that. I would say my biggest frustration, it has been my biggest frustration for years. It is continuing to plague me. It's led to a massive, I went through a little bit of a depression last winter. You know, it was not good. Thankfully, you know, close friend of mine, Mark Mandick, you know, we talked on the phone every day. He got me through some really tough times. Over, I had some really rough moments for this.
But because of ball pythons, or it's
not because of the ball pythons, but it's because of the rodents. The rodents have been one of the biggest major stress points for me in the industry. Maintaining supply, getting supply. You know, when we put the house on the market, I had to shut down my colony. I was back to relying. So where I get my rodents today, just so you guys are aware, it takes me on average anywhere between 4 to 5.5 hours in one direction to get there. I leave at 7:30 in the morning, sometimes 8. I get a car rental because my truck is a lease.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, so I can't drive the kilometers up. I've already driven my kilometers up. Let's just put it this way. I put 47,000 miles on my truck in its first year of ownership. Okay, that's a lot of driving. So now I'm getting a rental to go to this place. I leave at sometimes the latest 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't get back home till 8 or 9 at night with the rodents. I'm exhausted. I've sit in traffic all day driving through because on the other side of the city, you know, I have to traverse major distances because that's the only place I can get rodents right now. It sucks. It's rough. I've been doing this for a year because we were in this transitional phase. It's a lot to deal with. And it's just been, the road, and this is why anybody that comes to me asking me for advice, my first thing I say to them is have your rodent game in place before you even consider this.
That's so important. That's so because important. But also you can't predict what the future holds with that. So it's but you have to have a plan for a plan for a plan.
You need a plan. You need supply.
It's scary.
You can't rely on other people because it always leads to problems, and this has been a major frustration. It's depression. We're talking like this has been rough for me, and I'm glad that I'm finally, you know, seeing the light. But I'm still not there until I get a new place, you know, even further out in the country where I can actually build a massive building and do all this properly. It's still going to be a challenge. So my advice to everybody is if you're setting up a collection, you know, just avoid all this headache and plan this out. Rodents, #1 priority. Plan that out first.
And it's something you don't have a choice, obviously. Like it's not like
I have no choice. Yeah.
Fuck,
I have nowhere else I can get rodents in that quantity. And it's a 12-hour day of driving.
So but now
with a rental.
But now you're trying to establish your colonies again, you said? Like so you are trying to breed your own at this
yes,
point.
but I still I can't push the boundaries because of where I am to the extent of where I'm fully sufficient, but I can handle. I'll be able to get up to around 80%, and the rest I can still buy from someone that's more local to me who, you know, he's glad to supply me, but he just doesn't have enough supply for all my snakes. So I'm going to try to fill in the gaps where I can and get the difference, and that'll hopefully last until we get out of this, because the housing market is I mean, you think the ball python market's bad, you should see the housing market right now. I mean, the housing market's really bad. So until we get out of this, you know, I'm kind of trapped, and hopefully this will help us get through this high interest rate environment where we can, you know, try to get on the market and move again.
That's rough, bro. Rough.
It sucks. It really sucks. It's one of the hardest things, and I just, there's nothing I can say about it, but because I love what I do, I get through it.
You find
every
a way.
week.
You find a way because you have to. Like, I mean, it's like you going to bed at night. There would be no going to bed at night unless you take care of this shit. You know what I mean? So, you know,
without the rodents, there's no production. Without no production, there's no revenue. With no revenue, there's no food on the table. So you got to do what you got to do.
And let me tell you, babies got to eat, bro.
Babies got to eat.
The adults, they can take that, but babies, they better eat.
Depending on the time of year, but also, Emilio, depending on the time of year, adults can't fucking miss a meal either. Like,
well, I mean,
females obviously.
The problem with the hatchlings is, like, I've had the best success with hatchlings off a 5-day schedule. Even at 7 days, they just, like, if you go 10, 12, 14 days between feeds on hatchlings, I mean, they're like skinny and thin and not looking good. They go south quickly. Yeah. They need supply consistently, and that's why I make this drive, weekly.
Sooner the better with the hatchings, and then they take off, and then they're good for a while. But still, like, that's the most important part, is feeding the young ones. You know what I mean? Because that's fulfilling the future. Hello, like, that's how we get there quicker. But you're definitely not the only one. Obviously, you went to good company. Mark Mandic, fucking pioneer. Like, he helped people like Levance get going. Like, that's crazy to even think about, right? But it's good that you did have someone to at least reach out to. And I know there's more people out there that you can reach out to, JP. But I'm glad that you're on the up and up. Obviously you've been through the worst, I feel like, as far as where you're at, and you're starting to game plan things from what I see. And so you just got to keep.
Yeah, it hasn't taken my eye off the ultimate goal, and it's just it's a day. It's the rodent job for me. The day of rodents is a whole day, and that's it. And you come home at 9 o'clock, you're not going to feed snakes. Then you're gonna, I put them away in a rack, and I wake up the next day and do my feeding. So it's just, the reason I'm telling people this story is again, like you asked, and also not everything is always perfect. You're going to find challenges.
No. And
I think the people who genuinely enjoy what they do and want to succeed will find a way. Like, I'm finding a way with this problem.
Yeah. And you have people who have different types of problems that they deal with. Like, you want to know the shit that I talked to Mark Bailey about when it's like winter? This guy's shoveling snow just to get to his generator that just shut off, or like, there's this crazy shit people deal with to get their fucking animals safe, like, but mind you, man, but the ones who really want it, the ones who are fucking fired up about it, find a way. Like, year after year, nothing has taken Mark Bailey out of the game. You know what I mean? No winter, no fucking crazy market crash, nothing. So it's within you, bro. Obviously, you're doing it. You know what I mean? But it's just all about you digging deeper each time, and never always just seeing the end goal, right? So you'll be good,
it's
man.
Rough.
I know, and I can only imagine. It's crazy. Before me and my wife bought this house, which we got fucking super lucky on this place, but we were gonna live in a place that was probably goddamn near 4 hours away from where we live now, and a good 45 minutes away from like anything civilization wise. So like, and we were like looking in houses up there, and I'm thinking like, dude, how am I gonna get my rat guy to meet me here? And like, it's just, sometimes you don't have a choice, man, but you just got to figure shit out. And I'm glad you spoke about this tonight, because I'm sure there's someone out there who's probably pulling their hair out, dealing with some sort of frustration with their collection, and they just need to hear this to kind of breathe. And you're definitely not alone, bro. That's a fact. So
yeah, I mean, you think about, I think my QuickBooks says I've got about $15,000 this year alone in just gas.
Oh fuck!
Driving a Ram Rebel, I mean, you don't get far on that tank. The Rams are absolute crap when it comes to fuel economy. So the cost, I've destroyed my truck's value, because obviously 47,000 miles in 1 year is not good.
No.
So its value is tanked. So I'm going to be feeling that pain, next year when my lease is up. So that's, again, these are just challenges. I'm just being honest about this stuff, because like you said, it's sometimes it's good to hear the other side of some of the challenges that you have to deal with. And I know I'm not the only person that has these challenges. And one of the things I'm really good at is not dismissing somebody's challenge based on the gravity of it. Just because somebody may not have a challenge that's as severe doesn't mean it doesn't impact them equally as bad as it does to you. Some people just have different thresholds of tolerance to those problems.
Right.
So if you're going through something, just realize that you're not the only one. Everybody has challenges. Everybody has problems that they have to deal with. And it's like Levance just said, you got to keep grinding, and you got to find a way to get through it. And if you are one of those people that gets through it, you're going to look back at these moments. At least I'm hoping I'm going to look back at these moments and realize, man, those first four, between getting absolutely railroaded my first 2 years to to dealing with this, to making all these lifestyle changes and moving out to the country. Like those first 5 years were not an easy road.
JP,
but you'll laugh about it.
JP, did you die?
Was that?
Did you die?
No.
There you go. So there you go.
What doesn't kill you? What doesn't kill you makes you
Doesn't
stronger.
fucking kill you makes you a beast. You feel me? So this is gonna make you fucking unstoppable, bro. People gotta go through this shit to feel that. You know what I mean? So everything you're letting out tonight, bro, you're gonna fucking beast through this shit now. That's it. You're gonna become unstoppable. So
yeah,
good for you, man. Milo, you want to close off anything with JP before you let him go tonight?
Nah, man. You're going through a lot, but you're gonna come out bigger, better, and stronger, bro.
Yeah,
I'm happy to
see, bro.
I think we.
Hey,
anyone that makes it through what we're going through, you know, this economic cycle, right? We're gonna be bigger, better, and I think we're gonna be unstoppable.
Just make adjustments. Just sell some of your lower end stuff. Reach out to more pet people. Open up your books to a more diverse crowd. Like I've done very well that's what's kept me afloat the last 3 or 4 months is a lot of the pet level snakes, and I've made a lot of great customers in that process. And at the same time, I'm holding back a lot more of my good stuff. So I think you got to make adjustments. The market is there. The interest has not died. The interest has still grown. I'm seeing more interest than ever even today in the industry. It's just, we are in an economic downturn. It's not just us. It's every industry. I mean, go to a restaurant, ask them if they have the same attendance that they used to have during COVID or before COVID.
Right.
Like it's every single industry is feeling a pinch right now. And as long as the interest stays as high as it is, then this will correct itself. And I'm not seeing any evidence whatsoever of a lack of interest or a downturn in the interest in the snakes or the industry. So as long as we keep that interest where it is today, everybody's going to come out of this and we're just going to smash it and just keep holding stuff back. And, hopefully you don't have to deal with some of the things I'm dealing with, like with the rodents, and hopefully things are a little bit easier for everybody, because I don't wish this on even my worst enemy.
You had some love in the chats tonight, man. You had mad people who were in here, love to hear from you and just wanted to see you fucking do good. And, you had this guy, Nick Shanky, telling you that you're a real one. Lucky to have people like you in the hobby. I do want to answer this
he was
question.
One of my first customers.
Like back in the day?
Yeah, he was one of the very first people I ever sold a snake to.
Well, that's
actually,
crazy.
It's his fault I quit my job prematurely back then, because he got me all excited.
Too much money. All right, let's get this in style, man, real quick. All right, what's the most expensive snake you sold in your career?
I was very fortunate to hit. I've hatched 3 Pompeys males, and I sold 2 of them and held back the other one as a second. So that would be the most expensive snake to date I've ever sold.
Dope.
Damn it. Well, listen, at one point we had 160 people tapped in, JP. It's been a long time since the trap's been that lit. But what do you have to say to everyone out there tapped in tonight? And more importantly, everyone who's on your side and wanting to see you win in this shit.
I just appreciate all the support, appreciate everything. And, I'm a little bit of a ghost right now on Instagram. But if you do send me messages, I still answer them. And trust me, things are in place to get back to the social media stuff and the videos. Once the construction is done of all this new snake building, you might see a couple of videos here and there. So I just appreciate everybody's patience and support, and just keep grinding away, have fun, make some cool stuff, hold as much as you can back, and that's it.
So best way to stay on top of everything would be your Instagram, JP Reptiles on IG.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If you want to stay more up to date with what I'm hatching, go to Facebook, only because Facebook rewards you more for photos than Instagram does. I post my photos on Facebook and I do my reels on Instagram. So if you want more real-time stuff hatching, go to Facebook. But if you want to reach me, Instagram, or send me a message on my phone. Most people have my phone number now, which is probably why I get 12 calls from China a day now.
Take those calls. More importantly, though, listen, take it easy, JP. Keep grinding, man. Thank you so much for spending these couple hours with us. But everyone, please give it up for my man JP. It's a wrap. Episode 404, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for having me, guys. And yeah.
All right, man. We'll have you back. I like to have you back. Hopefully I won't wait a year, but just keep doing your thing, man. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, man.
Later, Jordan. Good show. It's crazy. You never really know what people are going through. You know what I mean? And JP, like we talk, but we don't I don't always know what's happening with people. And it's I'm just glad he's here. I'm glad he's fucking fighting through it, because that takes a toll on you, man. When you have to do all that traveling and be away from your family and all that shit, bro, just to feed your snakes.
I'm gonna give him mad props, bro. A lot of cats wouldn't do that.
No, they would throw in the towel.
Keep it real. Like,
yeah.
What he's doing, he's grinding for real.
Yeah. And he wants it. So that's good. I'm glad, and there's nothing in anything that doesn't make you think you're going to go through some hard times, and times could still be harder, no matter what, no matter how hard your time is, it could be fucking worse. So you just need to stop dwelling in it and just fucking ride through it, man. Everything will ride through the cloud days, man. You just got to keep grinding. And yeah, man, I'm glad you tapped in with us tonight, Emilio. Just because, like, for somebody who does this full time and there's no going back other than you working for yourself, that there's certain things that you have no choice on, Emilio. Like you stay on it, and there's no, obviously you have your days off, but really, do we have days off? I don't fucking think so. I don't think there's ever a day off. Mentally, never a day off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're always looking to get the business to that next level,
Yep.
So, I mean, only you could do that.
Yep. Appreciate you so much. Everyone out there, please go give Emilio Villarino Reptiles a follow on Instagram. Go subscribe to the V Unit family on IG. Shout out to you again, Emilio. Thank you so much for spending your night here with us. I hope you have some good night rest and have a good Friday. But give it up for big Emilio Villarino, ladies and gentlemen. All right, doggy. Thank you.
Later, bro.
Later. Peace. Woo! Thank you so much. What an episode. What a crowd. Thank you to everyone who tapped in tonight. That's what I'm talking about, man. Don't forget to hit the likes, though, man. If we could get the likes up, that'd be great. JP deserves well over 100 likes, I feel like, especially with the amount of people tapped in. Come on, let's get that ratio more evened out. Also, I just checked that I have 48% of the people who watch my channel that's not subscribed. So please, let's kind of get that a little less, and let's get the subscribe button, man. Let's hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all. You'll be on top of every single podcast I drop here. Listen, if you're into keeping reptiles, it's just admiring them or breeding them or learning how to breed them, any of that stuff, this is a channel to be on top of. All right. So thank you so much for tapping in with us. And again, go give JP Reptiles a follow on Instagram. Go follow his work. And I do follow him on Facebook, and he's right. He puts a lot of his current stuff on Facebook. Oh, it's heat, man. I'm telling you, JP makes some noise. So definitely go, if you're a Facebook friendly type of person, go check him out. JP Reptiles on Facebook. Thank you so much. Everyone who tapped in tonight, again, you guys are awesome. Live chats were cracking. You guys are all lovely, all beautiful tonight. Okay. That's all we have. Now, remember, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you want to support what I do more than what you see here, you want to get more behind the scenes, want to tap in with some longevity, relevant keepers, go down to the very first link in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Join the Patreon, join the Discord. Join the Instagram group chat. It's just cracking, man. Come meet some people. Come grow with us. Come have some fun. But more importantly, enjoy the rest of your night. I love you guys all. Thank you so much. Take care of each other. I'll catch you guys here Monday for the next Trap Talk Reptile podcast. And it's a wrap. Episode 404. Coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'll catch you guys here Monday. And I'm out. Cheers.